Dabblepoint, a Stuttering John Melendez roundtable discussion.
Welcome to Point Dabblepoint, a weekly discussion where we get caught up on This Week in Stuttering John, post photos of cancer patients for the lows, and if things run too long, I might take a nap. I'm Carl Hamburger, and with me this week is Trucker Andy.
Oh, hello.
We also have Blind Mike Geary.
What's up, guys?
And the always beautiful Missy B.
Hello.
And we're moving Missy B to this spot immediately. We don't have Missy B for a long time today, so while we have her, we want to take advantage. Now, guys, this is our weekly roundtable discussion. We're talking about everything that happened with Stuttering John in the week. A lot has happened this week. I say that every episode, but it's true.
Yeah.
And as much as this guy repeats himself, somehow, some way, there's always new stories, always new things that are going on. And this week, maybe more so than ever. But I want to start off a little bit differently today. Normally, we don't play any clips on this show. We just have a discussion. We join in with the chat, find out what they're thinking, what they want to talk about. But today, I want to play a video that is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's the most embarrassing thing that's ever leaked about anyone. I don't know how anyone could survive this. It's worse than the Pat O'Brien trying to get a threesome that leaked, that David Hasselhoff eating a cheeseburger on the floor.
Oh, that's
drunk.
bad.
It was bad.
It's worse than this.
This is worse.
Oh.
It's worse than Phil Elmore showing us flashlight fighting techniques.
Let's not get crazy.
This is the craziest thing that has ever happened. It is so embarrassing. Let's all just watch, and then we'll figure out next steps.
I'm sorry.
Careful the mandolin.
I know, I see it.
I was doing requests.
Okay.
We were flagging requests for a little
Good
bit.
job. Did you take a nap?
I did not.
That was my request.
Wow. And there it is. This is the craziest thing. Now, when I saw that video leak, the video that I left online for 2 years, not giving a shit, I thought, if someone were to edit this down and hand this over to Kevin Brennan and maybe Stuttering John, that's the end of my podcasting career. And I have to tell you guys, this might be the last show I ever did.
Career ruining.
That is career ruining. I don't see.
Did
Pat
you
O'Brien
play it
on TV.
again? I'm sorry. I actually couldn't tell what the problem was.
Oh, you didn't realize why that was super embarrassing?
I mean,
Carl's
like,
mommy's telling
you
him to
made
pick
a
up
mess?
his toys. What don't you get?
you made a mess?
I'll play
poop
it
your pants?
again.
I don't know.
I'm surprised you're missing it. All right, let me play it again. Missy needs to catch up here.
I'm sorry.
Careful the mandolin.
I know, I see it.
I was doing requests.
Okay.
We were flagging requests for a little
Good
bit.
job. Did you take a nap?
I did not.
That was my request.
I mean,
Wait, so she almost stepped on the mandolin because you're a nice, well-versed musician, and she almost stepped on it, but then what was her request?
Oh. It sounds like we have two dorks here, I guess.
yeah, you're not getting it, are you, Missy?
I'm not getting
This
it!
is the most embarrassing thing to ever happen to anyone on the internet. We could probably do a 24-hour stream just replaying that video and picking it apart nonstop.
Well, that's the real question.
How dare Jen rub your shoulder like that? She like
I know, it's crazy.
But why would Vince just cut out a slice of life, the most mundane part of what was a live stream to
Yeah,
people,
it was
right?
a creep off consequence.
Correct.
I had it live stream for 6 hours straight
Yeah.
watching cuties, and I got bored and started just reading the chat.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And he's going to repurpose that to try and make you look bad. in
Not
some way?
try, succeed. It's over for me, Andy. You're not hearing me. I'm telling you. The funniest part is, so Kevin Brennan does 2 hours on this video the other day. And Stuttering John's response, not like, yeah, let's get him, Kevin. Fuck Carl. Like, he'd think he'd want to team up with him and be like, yeah, let's take this guy down. He's just like, I already posted that video. I already played that on my show and posted. He wanted credits.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's great.
There's only room for one black hat in this county.
Right. But yeah, Vince the lawyer, of course, sent that to those guys, and they took the bait going like, oh, we got him now. We got him just
Devastating.
where we want him. And of course, John now, this has been quite the week, as I said. It started with, he puts a couple tweets up. You know, my father is struggling. Well, he's recovering from a cancer. He had surgery recently. And not bladder cancer, the cancer that I had mentioned 2 years ago. This is something else. And so he posts this tweet showing my parents and my brother with their names on it. And the joke, the punchline was cancer. That was the last word in the joke, which is how punchlines work. Jack goes, it's not a joke about cancer. I'm like, well, yeah, that was the punchline. It wasn't a joke, but that was the punchline. So John takes it down, goes, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't know. He got a lot of backlash for it. It wasn't backlash from me before he took it down. It was everyone who saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I do a show on Sunday and explain, I just want to show like John's kind of a douche. This was kind of going low.
Sinking to a new low.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's never talked shit about him or anything like that. Now all of a sudden he's on here.
Desperate for
A
ammo.
W. Yeah, ammo. He weaponizes any information he has, trying to weaponize the information. So I go on and I explain that. And John on Sunday night is backtracking, backpedaling. I don't know if he has cancer. How am I supposed to know? I didn't HIPAA law. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my God.
And then he gets, Vince the Warrior on his side. Of course, Leo Gunn and Broccoli. He just needs a couple people to be like, no, John, you're doing great. And he completely flipped 48 hours, completely flipped 180 to the point where Carl's done. He is done. I've ruined him. He is off the internet after this.
Oh, yeah. It was more of a victory lap than the OJ bet.
Yes,
He
I
was
know.
so
You're right.
Excited.
The OJ bet victory lap paled in comparison.
Well, for
this.
some reason, that clip you mentioned where he found that you said your dad had bladder cancer a couple years ago,
Yeah.
that vindicated him in such a way when in reality, like, maybe other people watching felt differently, but I took it as like, so you're celebrating that you lucked out, that on a technicality, you're not as much of an asshole as you were 2 days ago? What are you celebrating? I don't understand.
And I love that he lied and said, I knew that. I knew he said that. I knew that had leaked.
Yeah.
No, you got a guy who has a lot of fucking free time on his hand, Vince the Warrior, who had to sift through whatever he had to sift through to find this one little snippet out of a 6-hour live feed where someone asked me about my dad and I brought up that, he had bladder cancer recently.
Right. And that would somehow because he went through that justifies bringing up what he's going through now.
Correct. I don't know how that works.
No,
I like that they go, he said he had cancer 2 years ago. Like, well, do you think it's the same one? That's how cancer works.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on?
In John's mind, it is. It's like, Carl already mentioned you doxed your dad.
Right. Oh, he said that. He said that many times.
There's no such thing as somebody beating cancer and then it reemerging somewhere.
No,
that
never happened before.
Yeah.
Metastasized.
And it never happens that the person is then weaker the second time they get it and it's more serious and more severe. That never happens either.
Yeah.
So John is completely justified in all this.
It's all fodder for taking down 80K.
I'm also confused. So he's saying that you're saying that he's like, oh, I had no idea he had cancer. But it's like, but you did, but you just admitted that you did from a past time.
Correct.
So it's just like, you're still a piece of shit. I don't know how he can. He's such a bad liar.
He's a very, very bad liar. He's really bad at this.
It's juvenile. Like, it's not an intelligent level of lying either.
I agree.
No, he looks like an idiot. Like every time he gets caught in one of these things, he looks like a moron.
Yes.
And then if on some technicality he's vindicated, he's like, I have been pulling the marionette strings the whole time. It's like, John, you're not tricking anybody. Like, you're a terrible actor.
Right. And we know from past experience that you're not this calculated. You're not playing chess. You're never thinking 2 steps ahead. You're just always thinking about what do I do next? And flailing when you do that. But
it's like a retard playing bowling. Like, you can just like throw the ball and you might get a strike by one pin falling down. Be like, oh, look at me, I'm amazing. I got a strike.
Right.
You're like, no, you suck. Did you see how you throw that?
Stuttering John is the equivalent of putting the bowling ball between your legs and shuffling it down the and going, yeah!
And stepping on the lane and slipping. Like...
Yeah. See, I don't need the bumpers.
The bumpers.
I can get a strike.
He gets the dinosaur with the tail that rolls it down.
But what I love about it, though, is it says a lot about his psyche that so quickly he can think that it's all over for me now. Like, we've turned the tides and Carl's all done. It reminds me a lot of Chad Zumock. Chad Zumock exposed that we had parody songs on WATP. I remember Chad got really excited. He goes, this dork's playing parody songs? I've exposed him. It's over. Carl, it's over. It's done. You're done. It's like, is this how you think that something could happen where you do a bad show or someone doesn't like something that you did? It's over.
And it's not a secret
Right. Well, no, I know that's the funniest part about
Uncovering.
that. That's the funniest part about that. But yeah, no shit.
But if that's what constitutes you being over, having a bad show, then those guys have been obliterated. They're a black hole of over. They're terrible. So like they don't even put on a show, which is again kind of the whole Opie paradigm
Right,
of
yeah.
like it's not really a show, man. So like you can't judge it based on that. It's like but then you're also criticizing based on that as well. So you can't be in it and above it.
No, that's a big thing of his. I don't care. I don't care. Like if he fucks up the title of his show, like if there's a spelling error or a typo,
Stuttering John.
I don't care.
It
Yet he
doesn't
criticizes
matter.
everyone else for that shit.
John's grammar is really good. I'm kind of a grammar Nazi.
So I want to point out that we're doing a bonus show this weekend. We're finally finishing up. I got Tukey coming over, producer Chris. We're finally finishing up. Yes, easy for you to say. John's autobiography, the last few chapters on here, we'll be reviewing. But also, we'll be talking about Jimmy Dabbles on Twitter has released all of the documents that came out of John's child support and losing the Tonight Show job and then wanting to reduce what he had to pay for child support and all the back and forth. And a lot of people talked about it, and it's very personal, and it gets really crazy, and a lot of family shit involved. So I want to point out that my mission on this episode is going to be to point out all of John's spelling, grammar, and other errors within his resume and professional emails to executives in order to get jobs.
Oh no!
I was just going quick. It didn't really matter.
That's the thing. John loves to point out super chats that someone misspelled something. This guy is misspelling things on his resume and in emails to executives at CBS trying to get a job on a late night talk show.
There was something as
writer.
minor as like when I had gone over the link you had sent me from this guy, and like there was a Melendez with an S and a Melendez with a Z. Like which is it? That was really weird. That stood out the most. I was like, you're not spelling your last name properly.
Well, the S and the Z are very close on the keyboard. He's only got that one finger.
Oh yeah, the hook on his finger just accidentally hits it.
He's fisting the keyboard.
I think that the spelling thing is like a great microcosm of John's psyche, because anytime he makes a spelling error, he says something to the effect of like, oh, well, I was using voice text, or he has an excuse. Yep. And it's amazing. It's like, John, why can't you use that same excuse to give people the benefit of the doubt in your chat? Like, it's amazing that every excuse that he makes for himself is completely valid, but it
he's
doesn't
better
work for
than
anyone
everybody.
else.
Yeah, well, it's funny too because John uses grammatical errors and spelling errors to avoid what the actual question is and what people are saying to him. So he doesn't want to actually admit what a loser he is, what a fraud he is, how terrible his career has gone, how his bravado is not working, this new shtick he's doing, this performative John's not working. So all he has to do is be like, well, listen, let me school you. Y-O-U-R would be the correct yawn. It's like, all right, whatever. That's not the point.
I believe you mean Y-O-U-R-E, a terrible father.
Precisely. Quick programming note. Time is flying already. Missy B is going to have to jump in a little bit, so we appreciate her jumping on with us. That's great. I appreciate you coming on. And we do have a very special guest who's got a breakthrough no one even knows about yet. So as if this week couldn't have more information coming out. We have even more things to discuss. So stick around for that. That's a tease right there. Kiki Loco coming in with $5. R.I.P. Ken Otto. Yes. Rest in peace, Ken Otto. Hashtag am I blocked. Red 473 $10. Remember we only talked about John never paid for food and sucked at stand-up? How far we've come. P.S. I hope Carl got a nap in today. KB was worried you were sleepy, apparently. Well, I appreciate his concern. I really do. I gave Kevin back his money this morning. I don't know if anyone saw that. Kevin on MLC yesterday goes, because I want to go on MLC and talk to and debate Kevin. And he's a coward. He won't talk to me. So he goes, Carl wants to come on here. Why does he give me back the money I gave him? Here you go.
Yeah.
Here's the $400 you gave me last year.
I also don't understand that logic.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it doesn't.
But if anyone pays
That's
you
all
money,
they have.
if anyone pays you money for doing them a service and then they say, give me back that money because they're mad at you, that's it doesn't look great. It's not a good look for KB.
Not how it works.
It's not how it
Don't be a
works.
taker backer. Oh,
Right. He's some kind of giver. I can't remember what it's called.
Indian.
Might have been a Seinfeld. Melissa Young became a new member. Thank you so much, Melissa Young. Carla Bot AI, $5 super sticker. Thank you, Carla Bot AI. AI is a great thing when it gives me money. Mr. Donahue, $2. Hey, kids, did mommy make you nap today? Oh, hey, Carla, did mommy make you nap today? She didn't. I asked her if I could stay up all day. I go, hey, I got to go on the BS show this morning. They were doing a creep off. And then I'm going to go get my hair did. And then I'm going to do Dabblepoint. Is it okay if I don't take a nap today? And she goes, just this once.
Yeah, but now once Missy B leaves, you're going to be all cranky. It's going to be a whole thing.
I'm overtired. You're
don't,
right.
Don't worry, I brought an extra juice box for you.
Perfect. I appreciate that. David D comes in. Not my circus, not my monkeys, not my string concerto, not my mandolin.
All right.
This is not me. There's a fake Who Are These Podcasts. Disclaimer to all viewers, please refrain from chatting. Why would I super chat myself?
Yeah.
But thank you for the $5.
$5.
The money.
Disclaimer to all viewers, please refrain from chatting about my wife, father, cancer, naps, Vince the lawyer, or Kevin Brennan. Thanks to Joe. I think I've covered all of those so far. Pretty sure I've covered all of them.
But Stuttering John's not on the list, so that's fair
correct.
game.
Yes, we can talk about Stuttering John. That's what's funny about these boomers. They don't realize that IRL streaming has existed for a very long time, and most people are pretty open about their lives and admit that they're real people and have families and relationships. And sometimes I'm streaming from my office and my wife walks in. Whoa, you've exposed it. Wow.
I truly didn't get. It took me 5 or 6 viewings of that video, similar to Missy B at the start of the show, where I was like, what are they attacking? Because I knew Jen was your wife because she's been on your show before.
Yeah, many times.
So I was trying to think of like, what angle are they taking on this? It didn't dawn on me until after. I guess they're saying he's like a little kid because she's telling him to take a nap.
She didn't tell me to take a nap.
Yeah.
This has all been twisted quite a bit.
He's getting rambunctious, guys.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
KB has no one hits my wife but me energy. That's funny. Hicks Pasha with £2. 2 nappers stole my truck. Uh-oh. What are these nappers we're talking about?
Is there a dead napper in the back of your car?
Uh-oh. A lot of nappers south of the border. Watch out. John O'Reilly, $2. Happy birthday, Missy. Is today your birthday?
Hey. No, on Tuesday it was, but yeah, thank you.
Happy birthday,
that's cool.
Missy.
It's nice when strangers know my birthday.
That's very cool. Mason in Portland coming in with $20. NWO Nap World Order. Yes.
NWO.
I will put in the request to the jingles department to get my NWO drop for sure. Bob's Carl haircut, $2. Keep that hat thing going, Carl. Hide that hair. I know.
Wait, are you don't have to get the actual frosted tips, do you?
I do. I lost my bet with Bob
you
leaving.
did. Oh, that's exciting.
I know.
He's
Well,
laying
we
the
won't even
groundwork.
notice the difference. Don't worry.
That's right. If I already have tips, so what's the difference? Right.
Well, Carl's just laying the groundwork. I'm a hat guy now. I always wore hats. Don't you
That's
remember?
what Ant did when he got his hair transplant things years ago. He was wearing a hat for a while.
Yeah, me and Blind Mike, we always wear a hat. What's the big deal?
Yeah, my tips have just been frosted since you guys have made it.
Yeah.
I might do the Tim Pool thing where I wear a beanie every day. It's just
I hate
part
that.
of my
It's
head.
so weird.
It's just part of my head.
Shuley was doing that
How
this
people
morning.
know me. That was not a beanie. No anti-Semitism, too. Did you mention that one, Carl, from one of these podcasts? Hunter Duke, $5 says, can we all agree, let's boycott Wet Brain. Get your tickets for Subreddit Surfing live March 9th with Andy Q Public. Also vote Vinny. I can agree on some of those things. Only some. The creepoff.com.
Hunter Duke, Patreon.
Heck Ride, $2. Blizzy, Mizzy, and the Hizzy.
All right.
Thank you.
Why is there a
Heck Ride.
blind? Blind Mike.
Yeah, that's
I thought it was Missy. I thought it was for me. I was like, what's the Blizzy part? Okay. It's not about me, guys.
CMOS 4044 with €5. Hope you can read this whole super chat without taking a nap.
I wanna take a nap.
Jessica yelling. Why are you yelling about or something? Why don't you keep your voice down or something? Curl, seriously question, do you sit down to pee?
Seriously.
Don't answer that, Carl.
No, listen, I am not John's oldest son. Let's not be rude here. The Looney Tunes critic, my special request was for Missy to be here, and I'm glad it was fulfilled. Yes, Missy.
You get another 5 minutes because Carl said that, and then he went right to super chats. That was a really good idea.
You were requested on the BS show this morning. Uncle Jack, $10. Hashtag NapWatch24. Shame Carla. Bully coming in with 203. I heard Carl is saying Vince the Lawyer has a spectrum disorder. No, but Vince the Lawyer said that Stuttering John is mildly retarded.
Yeah.
That finally came out because
You can't sue him for slander.
well, right, yeah, exactly. Because they were saying when he was at Poughkeepsie, Vince the Lawyer, and he's hanging out with Bob and Mike and Shuli and all the guys, and they were all talking about Stuttering John, and he said, "Yeah, that guy's mildly retarded." And I said it more than once, apparently. But remember, Vince the Lawyer is more John's friend than he is my friend,
According to John. Yeah.
What a weird thing to say. John Okio, $2. Two people in love and for everyone to see. Gross, I know. Sorry about that. Ew. Available $20. Thank you very much. John only took that retweet down because he thought he was in legal trouble. Yeah, it was a bad look. He took it down because everyone went, gross, what are you doing? Yeah. Why would you put this up here? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Also, when I talked about my father having cancer, I didn't show his photo. I didn't say his name. I wasn't malicious. I love my father. You know what I mean? It's like a very different thing. And make a joke about it. Mr. Donahue, $5. Hey, Carl, it was nice that you blurred your family's faces on your show, but didn't do the same for SJ's family. You're a class act and not a hypocrite. The photo that you're speaking of, the only time I've ever posted a photo of John's daughter was from an article that featured, we were showing the article on the screen. It was featured with a photo of her. Yeah, it was a publication that was out there. It wasn't ripped from a social media page somewhere.
That's something I heard John say the other day is like, Carl perpetuating this bullshit that my kid is starving. And I'm like, the article is your child saying they're food insecure. It's not something that was made up.
She was quoted as saying she was close to homeless and food insecure. We just read it. So
his kids have never been featured on the show. Like, I have no idea what they look like. I've been doing this show for years.
Yeah. No, I know.
I know one looks like Baba Booey, thanks to Carl.
They have been featured on another show that I won't mention, so I do know what they look like, but I also know that they've never been featured on this show, except for that one picture.
Connor, $10. Does anyone remember when KB's wife made him end the stream and he signed off immediately like a good little boy? Yeah, Carl's the one married to his mom. Right. We watched that this morning on BS.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they
I've
found
never
it
seen that.
on there. And Kevin's doing like a late night stream. He's getting a little rambunctious and he's talking a little loud and stuff. And then you hear the door open. He looks over and he's just like, all right, guys. And then he just quickly gets off the stream. Like, she just was in there like, what are you doing?
You're in big trouble, mister.
All right, so I was saying.
She's got the curlers in her hair. And she's in the robe, like all classic like that.
The rolling pin, yeah. David D, another $5. Are you still taking Mando requests, Carl? Can I get a little Ocean Man? P.S. Missy B rules. I left the Mando upstairs.
Oh no! I hope Jen didn't step on it.
No, it's on a stand now. I brought it on Ray DeVito's show yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I go, everyone's talking about this mandolin. I'm going to give you the scoop, Ray. People are going to actually get to see the mandolin itself. Pretty exciting stuff. Short Fridays, $5. Carol, you don't have time on your hands. Busy season at the office this time of year? What's that referring to?
Busy season at the office.
I think this is Vince the Warrior because this person was super chatting on the BS show and they fucked up. They're in the wrong account because they referenced Short Fridays as Short Fridays. But
and you were just talking about how Vince has time on.
Love his vague and cryptic message as if he like has the scoop on you. It's so gay.
Danny Brophy, $5. My favorite country song is The House Next Door to Me Was Sold to Nappers.
Oh yeah.
Great song.
That was a good one.
The Looney Tunes critic. Missy's adorable. She's still in the early stages with John, asking logical questions about his actions. Adorable, I tell you. That's really well done. So naive, this one. Well, now, why would John say something irrational? What's that all about? What's going on with this guy?
You feeling okay, buddy?
Rocky Dennis, $2. Can we hear your favorite genocide joke, Carl? Oh, I got a bunch of them. What? Just you wait and see.
All right, let's all tell a cancer joke first.
Whoa, no!
He can, sir.
She Beast from Tahitian Village, $5. John is playing chess. He thinks rooks are the best tasting pieces. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Probably puts bishops up his butthole.
Pat Dixon.
Back to the
$5.
butt plug jokes.
$5 from Pat Dixon says, I support your effeminate and hypocritical stance on Vince and Stuttering John. You can mock them, but they can't mock you. Why don't they get it? I don't think that's the real Pat Dixon.
Aw.
Pat Dixon understands jokes.
Yeah, no shit. And that was funny too when Pat was on MLC recently, and they're get ready for this, making fun of me. I know, who could believe it? And Pat goes, "Oh yeah, you know, I've been in that basement." Oh well, what's the wood paneling like? He's like, "Oh, it's naughty pine. It's actually really nice." I texted Pat. I'm like, "Thanks for sticking up for my naughty pine."
Naughty.
I appreciate it. That's a man who knows style right there. Purple coming in with $10. Rip Ken Otto. Yes. Also, I heard SJ trashed Vince the Warrior's kids and his LGBT sister,
Oh my
which,
God.
if true, is shocking since he has 2 children who are allies, and he's an ally himself.
Oh, wow.
So I can't imagine. that
John
would be
isn't
the-
even an ally to, well, himself, barely.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Sabotaging all the time.
Own worst enemy.
I have the video if we want to play it, or we can just discuss it. But Andy, you actually made the joke first about we were talking about Vince's kids loving Stuttering John.
Oh yeah.
And you know, we're just like, what children would find this guy to be entertaining? And Andy goes, those kids sound like losers.
Yeah.
And I go, oh yeah, you know, it's a throwback.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, those kids are losers. So Vince played that on his show and then sent it to John. And then John played it on his show. And John got so excited. He's like, oh, Carl stepped in it this time.
Yeah.
He's calling more kids losers.
They're minors.
Yep. And then
He was so mad.
and then, oh, I know he was. I mean, we should probably play it in a little
Play
bit.
it.
He got so worked up about it. Okay, we'll play it. But
Play it.
it's funny because, as I predicted today on his show, Vince played the victim, going after his 9-year-old daughter. He
So
called
he
it.
doesn't understand jokes either?
No, he does.
I know he does.
He called it an assault. He's a
Yes.
lawyer. He knows how to do this thing. He's like, and it was a verbal assault. It was an assault. It was a verbal assault on my daughter.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, Vince played the video on his show of us calling his kids losers. And that's how I know he's not serious about being offended or having any ill effect in any single way, because Taylor Swift is threatening legal action over AI-generated porn that she's in. And you know what she's not doing? Posting the photos.
Yeah.
I don't like this photo, and I don't like this one, and my labia is not this big. And, you know, that would be
I could never
ridiculous.
double penetrate.
Right. Yeah.
Guys, if you want to see what I'm so mad about, click this link.
Right. I didn't see any of the women from the fappening post the photos that later just like, this is outrageous. I meant this for my boyfriend and my other boyfriend. And that's it. None of you people.
Can I see the
So,
clip before I go?
yes, let's play it.
Pretty
All right.
please.
All request hour for Missy B. is
Appreciate it.
happening.
I got a hard out, yo.
Get a heart out. Let's get on it.
Hard.
It's a little bit of a
R.
longer clip. Don't know if I can play it all the way through without pausing it a little bit. So
Oh,
this is John
this is brilliant.
Getting
Thank
the-
you, Vince.
getting the link from Vince during
Send
his
it
show.
along.
Oh,
Send it
yeah.
along, Vince.
And by the way, this
God.
is the episode. I'm pretty sure that John started off by saying, I prepped for my show. I know exactly what we're going to talk about. And then he's getting links from Vince in real time during the show and clicking them.
Can I mention too, and
Going
I know
off.
this is a discussion on the week's events of Stuttering John.
It is.
Was it not earlier this week that I heard John saying, Vince, we're done.
Yep.
You and I are done.
And it's
I think that was like Saturday or Sunday.
it's great because John was goofing on Shuley for saying he's out of the Vince business. Oh, they're not friends anymore? It's like, John, you do that every week. You're out of the Vince business. What are you talking about? All right, let's play this for Missy. She hasn't seen it.
Send it along. Watch what we're going to unravel. Watch what we're going to discover today. And then I want to. Okay.
And then I want to.
He keeps getting texts. He doesn't know how to turn off his notification bell on his computer. He's so stupid. A quick Google search. This has been happening for years to him. He's such a moron. I'm not good with tech.
Yeah.
What do you want? I told you I'm not good with tech.
And I
Connect your fucking messages to your laptop. I
No
think
shit.
that's so stupid.
and Vince is watching and hearing it going off, so he just keeps
Yeah,
texting
so he
him
loves
over and
it.
over again, so it just keeps
And
going off.
the best is when, you know, John says Vince isn't always a troll. The best is when deliveries start coming and John's like, You better stop it now, Vince. I'm on a roll. It's like, what do you think he's going to do?
Oh,
Oh, okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. I didn't
He's
realize
like
you were on a
part of
roll.
the joke. Like he's like, what?
And he screams out, "You're not getting a tip. Don't. I'm not tipping you." Before he even gets to the door.
I really am not a fan, and I don't want to give any air to John's performative thing that he's doing now. So someone knocks on the door with an order, and you start yelling that he's jerking off or he's taking a shit, and yeah, it's just unpleasant, not funny in any single way. But it was really good the other day when he's yelling, "I'm taking a shit," and then hemming and hawing and stalling, and then he gets to the door and the guy left. Where'd you go? Well, maybe he didn't want to hear about how you're taking a shit. Probably just went, all right. Well,
Although he thinks like people really would like willingly wait hand and foot on him. Like
John thinks
like,
he's better than everyone. He thinks that if someone is delivering something to his house, he therefore is better than them.
Yeah, I'm your boss.
Okay, thanks, Vince. And then and thanks for the hemorrhoidal cream. Then we're gonna see who one fucking lonely loony lady saying it was too low for even me. Oh yeah.
He's like, nothing's too low for me.
I'll show you.
He's talking
How
about
low
a widow.
can I go?
He's talking about a widow calling her lonely loony lady. He's like, there's nothing too low for me, you lonely asshole.
So calling my kids losers, and now watch what we're gonna show you here. This is Lady K.
He must feel really bad for Vince's kids right now. He doesn't seem excited about this at all. Look how happy he is. He's like, oh, here we go. He's just missing this rubbing his hands together. All right.
Twirling
So
his
Lady
mustache.
K, you reap what you sow. So right now, we are exposing you because you love to trash other people's families, don't you? But we're not allowed to trash yours. Right? Right? We can't do that. That's not allowed. Right, Lady K? Go!
Oh my god. I think
Get
it's
the video yet,
empty.
John? Come on.
All right, hold on, Vince. This is all blowing up in Carl's face. I love it.
By the way, again, I just want to point out, if this is actually some heinous thing that we're doing that's awful, and he's going, I love it. This is great. This is amazing. This would be like if his mortal enemy was caught murdering a family of people. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Murdered an entire family of people. Oh, good. Good.
I'm sorry guys, but I really do gotta go like hard out.
God damn it, Missy, you're going to miss this.
I know. I told
Why
you.
do you
I
live
like
so
I-
far
I
away
should
from
have
the
been-
restaurant?
I'm
Yeah.
20
Vince is on
minutes
the
from
show.
it, and
Vince
I gotta
laughs, then
go.
John laughs.
I'll give you a
and then
spoiler.
Vince goes,
It's
"Oh, my
John looking like
kids
an asshole."
love the
Hold on.
sound of your laugh. They
Hold on. All right, watch this right here.
Minors, Devin and Alexandra. I want to fucking. You're gonna shit on Vince's kids.
It's the worst acting.
They are fucking minors.
Someone should stop him from doing that.
All right. It goes on, Missy. You'll just have to take our word for it.
Oh my god! The thing that
Unfortunately.
pisses me off the most, and I'm gonna get here, is just like and he's been doing this forever. He watches himself
Yes.
in the footage, and he like it's like this feedback loop of anger and fuel, and he's just like but it's cringy when you think about it because it's kind of like Artie Bucco when he's like in the mirror and he's hyping himself up like he's gonna punch the French guy like hey qu'est-ce que c'est? Like that's what he's doing. He's just being a douche in the mirror. He's completely void of all real reality.
Right.
It's just
He's
so
either
cringe.
auditioning or, like you said, he's rehearsing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just looking at himself and he's doing it and he's like, yeah, that looks good. I look and like it's just this thing.
Should I do
inside-
some of this, or what do you guys think? Give me some direction here.
Yeah,
What do
I'm
you
gonna
guys
give you my intense eye contact or something. Hate him. All right, guys, I'm really
All
sorry. I
right.
want to be here. I
Love
wanna
you,
be here
Missy.
tomorrow.
Have a
Love
great
you guys
weekend.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right. I'll be backing up just a little bit so we can watch the outrage unfold here as he watches this video that, as I mentioned many times before, when you repeat videos that you find to be so offensive and outrageous, you are actually doing the exact thing you're accusing that person of doing.
Right.
Okay.
Hold on.
your friends, and
Yeah.
Vince is on the show. Vince laughs, then John laughs.
Yep.
And then Vince goes, "Oh, my kids love the sound of your laugh. They
Okay. I haven't seen this clip before.
it's the greatest
And John
thing
falls
in the
for it
world."
every time. He's just like, I know,
Every
I'm
time.
entertaining. I can't help
It's
it.
just one of those great
Just
things.
so
that I do.
entertaining.
Yeah.
These kids sound like losers.
Yeah, Vince's kids sound like fucking losers.
Oh!
If their favorite entertainer is Stuttering John Melendez, those are a couple of fucking losers right there.
Wow!
true.
Wow!
Segments.
Let's play that again. Oh!
And,
So
and
now-
again and again and again.
That's the most offensive thing ever. Let's play it on a loop.
But this begs the question: after all these years, because the original losers, those kids sound like losers comment, if I remember right, is probably 2, maybe 3 years ago. Does that seem right?
It was when it was the first chapter of Easy for You to Say, so this has to be going back 3+ years.
Does he still, or is he pretending? You guys are the experts here. Does he still not know that you were doing that? You don't know his kids. You're solely trying to get a reaction out of him.
Yeah.
Does he not get that, or is he pretending not to get it? That's the ultimate question with
I
John.
think he's pretending not to get it, and I'll tell you why. Because John was ready to make up with me and become friends and actually do a show together. Him and I, he didn't realize what my intentions were, but we were in talks of doing a show together.
Right.
He didn't realize that we were just going to debate each other and I was going to tell him he was a loser. He thought we were going to like co-host or something. He's like, yeah, we have really good chemistry. We were on MLC together. He's like, we do have really good chemistry. Everyone's telling me we should do a show. So he was ready to make up with me and everything was going to be fine. And now the fact that I called his kids losers is, I mean, there's nothing else I can do about it.
Inexcusable.
Inexcusable. It's
Yeah.
the worst thing anyone could ever possibly do. It makes no sense.
Well, you know, great evidence of that I think gets overlooked sometimes is remember, I would say Anthony Cumia of you, at least between like you, Shuli, and Anthony. Anthony's probably the one that actually went after John's kids. Like he posted some shit, I guess, that offended John or whatever it was.
You guess? Yeah, I've watched it 8 times. I don't remember. He went off on him for an hour straight. Yeah.
But do you remember when John got tricked by someone who called them and said it was Anthony Cumia? And was like, "Oh yeah, Opie's an asshole. This is what I dealt with. I remember I had heart surgery, so now I wanted to apologize to you, John."
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? John was willing to forget everything Anthony
Yeah.
said about his kids.
Yeah, he goes, I made up with Anthony, called me with a great conversation.
Yeah. So it has nothing to do about the insults to the kids. If Carl, if you today, seriously, you can't do it right now because I'm giving it this premise. But if you like went out on your own and said, I think, you know, guys, we bust John's balls. I actually think he does a great show. John will forgive you for everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how you know that's true is that Vince the Warrior, a.k.a. Muttering Jay, prove it time and time again.
Yeah.
They do heinous things that are, again, inexcusable. Vince the Warrior watched the wedding speech videos. The thing that's totally inexcusable, but then he's nice to John and doesn't like Shuli or me or posts a video of me owning a mandolin that I put on the floor. And next thing you know, he's great. He's the greatest guy ever. So yeah, it really is that easy. And it just shows that John's not a real person. Also, there's proof that John doesn't give a fuck about his kids.
Right.
He stopped paying child support.
Yeah.
It's all documented. He stopped paying child support. Now, the reason why he stopped is because he lost his job and his child support payments were more than he could technically afford, although he could because Jay Leno gave him $110,000. Neither here nor there. But if you wanted to lower what you had to pay, go to mediation, figure out what makes sense based on the new circumstances, you'd still pay some money to your ex-wife and kids to help them.
Yeah.
You would give them, like, let's say he goes, I think $700 a month is fair at this point. This is where I'm at. I can't pay $3,000 anymore. Give them $700 a month. Assume that they're going to agree to that and start doing that. Instead, pay them nothing.
Yeah.
Susanna's working 3-4 jobs. This is proof that John doesn't give
yeah.
a flying fuck about his kids and his family.
Why was Susanna working 3? So they were divorced at this time that she was working 3 jobs, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So she was getting literally nothing from John, then I assume, because it couldn't have been that long after. If John was making hundreds of thousands a year, she got the house and everything. That seems strange that you would have to work 3 jobs that quickly unless John was giving them nothing.
Well, it started off, I don't want to get too much of this, but it started off that instead of giving them cash, he was letting them stay in the house. So that was
That's big of him.
Well, right. So rather than like, it was $2,300, something like that. It's like, well, you can stay in the house and I won't give you any cash and that will be my child support and alimony, whatever. And then he had to sell the house. He kicked them out. So they had to fend for themselves. And then he owed them a certain amount of money. And yeah, he just stopped giving them money at a certain point.
Yeah. Well,
Such a
that
sweet guy.
that kind of goes back. I was going to backtrack to Mike's initial question of whether John really believes that. John believes what he has selective hearing, and he believes what serves him in the moment.
Of course.
Yeah. So he will try and have it.
But
both
does he
ways.
really? I mean, there's no way to tell. None of us are as mildly retarded and as wet-brained as Stuttering John, so there's no way to tell what he actually thinks and feels.
Yeah, I guess
and-
because I'm thinking about it like a normal person,
Right.
like how I would think about it, and I would just be like, no, I'm just, I'm convincing myself what I want to believe. He probably actually believes it though.
John has the brain of Abby Normal, giving us $5 right here. Thank you very much, Abby Normal. Young Frankenstein reference. Jacob Ryan asked $5 on Wednesday's show at 1 hour, 15 minutes, 50 seconds. John's mom tried asking him when he will pay her money. He quickly gets her to shut up and change the subject. No. Because it also came out he borrowed $40,000 from his mom.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or maybe 30,000.
That's all. That's because he's staying one step ahead of his creditors. He's just being smart,
Yeah. I don't want to give my kids money. And if I got money from a legit source, I'd have to give them some of that money. So, Mom, can I borrow money from you and I won't tell anyone?
Fooling Uncle
Andy's
Sam.
Andy's getting angry right now.
I really
fired up.
I keep thinking that he's using his mom as like a financial shield
Yeah.
to
No
protect.
shit.
Because I thought he was hiding his assets like in her bank account in her name,
Mm-hmm.
but that is bizarre. That
Yeah.
flies in the face of that theory.
Well, the apartment that he was living in was in her name.
Right.
And then he sold it. And they took that money and used it to buy the house in Florida that's in her name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some shenanigans going on here,
Yes.
obviously.
But what I mean is if he was hiding all her money or all his money with her for her to be asking him to pay her back, that squashes that theory.
Right.
And that's always been my position on him. is
It's
that
not
he
for any
was-
shady reason. It's because my credit score is 350.
Yeah, right, exactly. Which he blames on his wife, who had to work 3 jobs.
No. If there's anybody that's like actively forgotten to pay credit card bills, it's Stuttering John.
Yes. Like I said, we have a special guest coming on who's going to blow some things wide open for us. But I do want to get caught up real quick on the super chats. Chris Allen, $5. John was so angry and bitter seeing Carl and his wife being happy around each other. Hashtag victory lap. I get the sense that maybe KB also had a little bit of that going on. So upset.
And can I clear one other thing up from that video? Because I was watching John, I think it was last night. It's hard to tell because he repeats himself so often.
Yeah, it's all the same.
But I think it was last night that he goes, "Hey, Carl, face it. You're not a cool guy." And I want to direct this question to Andy because I haven't known you, Carl, as long as Andy has.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever been under the impression that Carl was like a cool guy? I don't understand where that came from.
That's a great point. I don't think I've ever declared I was a cool guy. I wasn't the captain of the football team in high school. That's a very good point.
Carl's a nerd.
I mean, define cool. He's not like punching. He's not turning on jute boxes with his fist or anything. But I mean, we played sports and guitar, and I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds
I think
pretty cool.
Carl's pretty cool. But
Thanks, Andy. Andy and I have been playing in bands together since high school. So, Joe Carson Wright, $2 says John's putting out a new book. Easy, my kids are gay. No, that doesn't make sense. All right, D Vogel 5. I mean, I like that. It doesn't make sense.
That is great, actually. Easy. My kids are gay.
All right, you're right. There needs to be a comma. Okay, now I get it. T Vogel, $5. What happened to Andrea B releasing her SJ emails or some shit? Is that still happening? I must know. Yeah, I owe her an email. She did get a cease and desist from Stuttering John in regards to that, and it's so weird. What are in those emails that John is so afraid of? His I mean, I can't. Well, it's a dumb question, right? Everything John does looks bad. It's a bad look for
more
him.
humiliation.
Borderline, what's F Stut Joe for his new low? We love hamburger. Thank you very much, Borderline. What? Dang Lizard, €5. Devil be this nap time. How can John be a loser when he was successful in the past? That's another thing.
That's a good point.
I was reading Dabblers Anonymous, and the way that John plays with history, people will be like, dude, 11 years ago, you weren't giving your wife any money for alimony or child support. that's 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, I was a writer for the Howard Stern show. I had Sting in my music videos. Like, well, that was 30 years ago. So why is that okay to brag about?
This is another one he said last night, and that's he goes, Carl, don't you understand? If back when I was on Howard, if you were another DJ, we would squash you like a bug.
I heard that.
And all I keep thinking is, John, well, squash him now. What,
Yeah.
Are you saying you literally need Howard Stern? Like, Carl is this force that only Howard Stern could beat? Is that what you're saying?
That is precisely what he's saying. He's said it multiple times now where he's like, if you were back on that show and it was me and Howard and Jackie, we would have a field day with you. It's like, well, right, exactly. Mike, it's just like, well, why don't you come up with something witty and interesting to
Right,
say?
yeah. If Howard Stern was going after me, I'd be honored, even in his current state. But if John...
I know, current state Howard, I wouldn't be too worried about.
John literally went after me, and like, it barely got me more podcast views.
DJ Q, $50. Thank you very much, DJ Q. Great supporter of the show. Don't let that loser SJ get to you, Carol. Keep doing what you're doing. It is not getting to me, but thank you so much for the support. I do appreciate that. Dan Tanner, $5. Carl stayed up late trying to come up with as many nap joke comebacks as he could. By the way, Missy SJ said he likes you because you love anal. Is that true,
is that right?
Missy? Is that right? Like, bring Missy back on. Let's get her on.
Get back here.
Rick from New York, $2. Carl, your top 3 guitar players. Eddie Van Halen, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes pretty far down from there. See, I got to think about that because I like Joe Satriani, but I'm not listening to his stuff very much. Like, I think he's a great
It all kind of
guitarist.
starts to sound the same after a while.
Yeah, it's not really my favorite style of music. I mean, Greg Townsend's one of my favorite. Greg Townsend plays for Low Straitjackets.
Oh, yeah.
Local guy, was in the High Risers. He's one of the greatest. Brian Mason, another local guy who's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So
local guys.
we have a lot of good guitarists. Bill Kelleher from Mastodon.
Yeah.
From Rochester. Eric Burke, who was in Bill's band back before.
Hey, go
Rochester,
by there.
the birthplace of music.
Yeah.
We're like, Seattle had grunge. Rochester had metal bands that never made it.
Yeah.
That's what we're best known for. Barnes and Noobs. You know what? If I had more time with that question, I would do a better job. I don't know. I got to think about that. Barnes and Noobs, $10. El Jefe from NoFX.
Good one.
I like his guitar playing. Anyway, Barnes and Noobs, $10. Says, Tough Guy John showed up a lot this week. He's like a little kid practicing in the mirror what he's going to say to the big bully at school. This dummy never grew up and never will. Yes. Was that Missy B who was saying that earlier? Or was that Mike talking about the chef from Sopranos?
Oh, Missy, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was a perfect reference for that. Because, yeah, exactly. It's all performative. It's just like, yeah, and then if I see you in Atlantic City and you come to me and I'll be like, boom, boom,
Bam, bam, bam.
hit you so hard
Yeah.
you wouldn't even know.
One of my favorite parts of his stream last night, he was just like, now it's all coming back to bite you in the ass. And I love it. I love the taste of that ass.
You reminded me, Andy. That's my favorite part. And my favorite and most frustrating part about John is the cyclical, like, he thinks that you guys are in a, like, mini-series.
Yeah.
Where John is the beaten down, bullied guy, and he's going to come back and give you your comeuppance, and then that'll be the finale. And then we'll all say, hey, John, you got the son of a bitch.
You
and we'll
win.
carry him out on our shoulders.
Yeah,
and then
he's
he does
rude.
this crying thing where I was a teacher and an inspiration to those kids.
Yep.
And then he rallies everyone around, and it goes through the same cycle over and over again, but there's never a finale.
Right, yes. I think we're on season 6 now of this series that we're talking about. General GK coming in with $5 says, how have SJ and KB not figured out these pathetic insults don't affect you at all? You just give them more content. Oh, wait, I think they're dumb. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Why you would go so hard at me on that video. And when I was on Ray DeVito's show, all these people were just like, did you need a nap, Carl? Like,
Well, that was
fuck. This is the worst insults I've ever heard in my life.
I know, and he thinks he's owning you when he's just like, oh, that's your wife. I'd rather fuck this, and he's holding him. He's like, you're a jerk off that doesn't get laid.
Right? Yeah, I know. Hey, good news, John. That's who you get to fuck tonight.
Yeah.
So
And he kept playing it on repeat as if every time it got more and more funny. But it's like, John, this is 15-second clip that's not that great. And to your credit, Carl, that clip that came out of him shit-faced outside of the bar where he's yelling at someone.
Yes, yes,
I remember you saying, like, I'm not going to play that because
Yeah.
it was filmed without John's knowledge and all that shit. And yet any time he gets the littlest piece of dirt on you, he takes this victory lap.
That is very true, and I purposely did not play that because there was a guy at Pickwick who is a fan of the Dabbleverse and just captured John at when he's drunk and wants to drive home and upset that he can't get into his car right away
This is a giant
parked
suck.
him in.
Yeah.
Joe Dicker with $10 says NWA nappers with attitude. See, I assume nappers were something else. Dang Lizard with 5 euros. Blind Mike doesn't get how embarrassing that video is because he can't read a room. So devil me this.
true.
So
That's a
devil
good
me
point.
this, Blind Mike. Did you take your nap today? Oh,
No, I didn't.
shit. Come on, guys.
He makes some
please.
good points.
Please be respectful of the guests on the show today. Gartner fan, $2. Ask a Kumia what someone who renegs is called. Renegger, I believe. BLR, $2. Just heard your Cumtown episode. Oof.
Okay.
I loved their response to our episode. It's still one of my favorite things. I think someone made a YouTube video of just
That's
the
how I found you
highlights.
guys originally.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, who are these assholes?
Still one of my favorite comebacks. We've had a lot of people come back at us, and sometimes it's good and funny. And Cumtown definitely, I think, was the best of all of them. These guys sound like two people who just got out of their jobs at Blockbuster. And my guest today, Andy.
I'm in Fargo, North Dakota. Now, I mean, I did go on to become a fan of that show. It's like the rare show that beat
Well,
the
that show's
odds.
gone. Now it's the
Well, I mean,
Adam
but I
Friedland
became
show.
fan of the guys.
Well, the Adam
yeah.
Friedland show is like a joke on the audience.
Yeah.
And I love Nick Mullen. It's impressive that you could have a popular podcast based around a guy who's incompetent at hosting a show. That's funny. I get it.
Yeah.
But
No, I get it. I mean, I don't watch it on the regular, but I enjoy it.
I'd
watch
rather
it.
hear Nick and Stavi busting chops and riffing. But what do I know? Nasty Al coming in with $50. Thank you, Nasty Al. After 17 years of Sirius, I officially canceled today. Congrats, Carl. You're officially taking my money out of Howard Stern's pocket. Awesome job all the time. F. Vinny, the fidget lawyer. What a nuisance. I got to tell you, Nasty Al, for some reason, I still give money to Sirius. Now, the actual reason is because sometimes I have to pull clips from there and it's a write-off. But I stopped listening to Sirius March of 2020 when Howard Stern lost his fucking shit over COVID. And I went, I can't listen to the show anymore. It's bumming me out. This guy's a lunatic.
I mean, people won't like me saying this, but I stopped listening once Shuli left and I wasn't hearing the Tan Mom impression.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of my favorite things on the show.
That was around that same time. And Howard made a conscious decision to stop using the Whack Packers as much. Because what's weird, because Howard decided to go more mainstream.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to make fun of retarded people and goof on people who are slow mentally. But instead, the sexual stuff, he amped up. The gay sexual stuff now is like nonstop. Sal and Richard licking each other's balls. And it's just like, you're like, okay, I mean, this isn't funny or interesting. And I'm sad that you made a video of it too. And what's going on right now?
Right. Your fan base was largely male and you were having porn stars on and morons that were easy to make fun of, and it was amazing. And you're going to take that and throw it all in the trash so that you can interview Billie Eilish.
Yeah, he consciously did that. And you remember from the Pelican Brief where he came out and he said, our listeners are homophobic and they're racist. Like he hated his audience. Yeah. So he actively pushed them away. I remember there was a certain time, and it was after Artie left. It's probably around the time when Marcy Turk was making all the decisions and over there. But I'm listening to Howard Stern regularly, and I saw it posted somewhere. Someone's like, these are the last 30 guests Howard has had on his show. There was one guy.
Really?
Oh,
It was all these like actresses and singers and all this like nonsense that no one who listens to Howard Stern show could give a flying fuck about.
I think it's overlooked. Everybody loves to blame Marcy Turk. But I think
Howard made a conscious decision.
Overlook the Beth O effect. When he married her, I think she kind of shut down that whole lesbians in the in the studio thing.
Yeah, but the
They
show was
didn't-
still like. I really think it was when Artie left, it kind of opened the door to give him an excuse to go into that world. Like with Artie sitting there, he couldn't have become what he is now.
Right. He's not going on America's Got Talent and then
Right.
showing up Monday morning with Artie sitting there.
Right.
Hey, did you guys watch me on America's Got Talent?
Yeah, you fucking killed it. Good job with the fucking jugglers.
Maybe we should do a weekly roundtable about the Howard Stern show and how it's not
Yeah,
very
that's
good anymore.
never been done.
Call it Radio Gunk. I'll
We
invite
call it
my
radio
friend
junk to
Monique on.
avoid copyright.
Ah, yes. Very good. All right, I teased this earlier. I got to get to this, or we'll never get to it. Tim Duransky is joining the program. What's happening, Tim?
Hey guys, how we doing?
Hey.
I'm doing well. Now, I want to set this up by saying I don't know all the details. Tim actually sent me all the details. I haven't reviewed them yet. So I'm going to let Tim kind of describe what happened and how it happened. And I have to tell you that I'm a little torn on this, whether I should be giving this any air or platforming this. In fact, when Tim is DMing me, I've even said, I'm like, well, I'm not endorsing any of this sort of thing. Because my whole thing is
That is
observe and
true.
report. Don't, fuck with people IRL.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm kind of hemming and hawing on this one, and I'm letting Tim talk about this, is because Stuttering John treats everyone like they owe him something. He uses people. He doesn't have real relationships with anyone. It's all a one-way street. It's all transactional with him.
Yeah.
And if you become friendly with John, I have close friends who have tried to do it. And they end up despising John because he's such a fucking asshole that he needs to learn his lesson. And
Just real quick, for my sake.
yeah,
I recognize the name Tim Dransky. Can
Sure.
you please let's reset Tim's initial? It was some slow burn goof on John, right? Well,
Yeah.
how do?
So
Please remind me how I know Tim Dransky, because I just need a
Cardiff
reminder.
related, right? Is that the same guy?
yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
so the first time that I had an adventure with John, I got in his ear. I reached out to him and I started telling him that I had all this information on Cardiff. And I told him Cardiff's real name was Tim Dransky, which ended up being the anagram for my trans kid.
Yeah.
And John had the field day giving the information out for a month and how he had it from 10 different sources and the whole thing. And then in the end, I came on the show and I told everybody about what I did and we all had a big laugh, right?
Yeah. So John, anytime he gets any information, he weaponizes it.
Right.
If he thought he had a photo of Cardiff, he thought he knew what his real name was and where he lived and where he worked, he is going to use that to try to ruin people that he doesn't like.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things that I like about this guy is that he turns that around on John.
Yeah.
And John deserves that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so that was the first one, right? And it was pretty funny, and it was funny to see John go on after and do the thing that he always does, where he's like trying to spin a story in reverse that just doesn't align in any way with the facts, so it looks really ridiculous. To me, that's actually the funniest part about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So this time, I figured it's going to be difficult to just reach out to him. But then I said, what is John likely to bite at? What's he likely to be interested in? And I said, well, he is a piece of shit. So if I just create a female account, his date rapey tendencies will force him to reach out to this person.
All right,
So
let me just pause it real quick and just remind everyone who's been watching this week, the way he deals with Gina Bobina,
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
it is nauseating.
Yes. Sado me
Yeah.
for a long time as well.
Sodomy for a long
I
time.
was gonna say, Tim, are you about to tell me that you're Sado me?
No, I wish.
But
'cause
Gina
I think sodomy
Bobina,
is
I believe
hilarious.
to be a real person. I believe her photo is her real photo on there. I could be wrong about that, but I've had correspondence with that person. And he puts up her photo without even a super chat. And he just ogles it. Just,
Yeah.
I'm so horny. He goes,
Right.
I'm a horny guy.
As if it's not
Yeah.
it's not filtered 3 times, and that she's not.
I'm sure
250
she's
from the
beautiful.
neck down.
I'm sure Gina Bobina is a beautiful
Yeah.
person. I'm
Call
just
this pig out, Andy. I'm with you.
saying John's a creep. She's not the Trisha Paytas of the Dabbleverse. How dare you?
I don't know Gina.
So-
Anyway,
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, so I literally just I found some picture on Instagram, just a picture of someone's face. It's not like particularly sexual. It's not, it's pretty benign picture. So I put the picture up there, and I think I commented on one of Brian Carum's posts. Like I intentionally didn't even reach out to John.
Smart.
And he DMs me, right? Which means he had to follow me.
Come
And by the
on.
way, that was the only thing. The profile just said like, "Hey, I'm new to Twitter," because obviously the account had no followers; it had just been created. I said, "I'm new to Twitter, like looking to meet some nice people." So he DMs me and he's
That's
like
classic
Bot.
bot. Honey
yeah,
bot.
Of course.
100%. So now, listen, I believe it's very fun to make fun of John, but like I did last time and this time, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you stuff that didn't happen. I have all of this stuff. I sent Carl the entire thread of the conversation. So I want to say at the outset, for anyone who watched John's show yesterday, he went on and he said this before. He said, I know that Carl and the Shitway are sending people to try to scam me, and I've been recording videos. So like he had his, like proof of life videos where he's saying, hey, I know that this is a scam, right? So that when they sprung the trap on him, he'd be able to say, haha, the joke's on you.
Right.
And he would be able to go and show that it's a scam. So
Proof of low life.
yeah. So we need to give John credit for the fact that he is aware that people are trying to scam him. Where I think it's important to make a distinction here is that he's still so dumb that he's like, hey, what is this carrot doing in this cardboard box with the stick in the woods? Like so he reaches out to this person, and it was on January 10th.
Okay.
Right. He reaches out.
So
and
just
now
over
I think
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So he reaches out, and on January 10th, he's like, hey, beautiful, how you doing? Where you from? And so I said, or this person says, I'm from Rhode Island, like as far away as you can make it, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of the idea. And so he's like, how old are you? So I said 35, and he's like, all right, I'm 58. Is that too old? And I'm like, no, I love a fat alcoholic 58-year-old. Do you live in Canoga Park by any chance?
Yeah. I got so many daddy issues. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If you were 68, that'd be even better.
So this is January 10th. We exchanged 4 messages, and I said, oh, I'm from Rhode Island. I said, you must live in Hollywood, but they probably don't call it Hollywood. They probably call it Los Angeles. And he's like, yeah, I live in Los Angeles. You should come visit sometime. This is his 3rd message to me.
Yep.
So I'm like, that's like kind of gross. By the way, this is a 35-year-old. This is a girl who's like just a little bit older than his daughter, son, whatever that one is.
Right. You don't think I want to fuck Kate Meany? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's no him on there, right? So now it's like, okay, he's obviously bit for this a little bit. He sends me a message where he says he's like, are you on Facebook or Instagram? Now that could be because he's trying to verify if I'm real. But I think what he's doing is he wants more pictures, right?
Yep.
So I said, yeah, so you're trying to see if I have more pictures. I get it. I said, I'm not on those things because I was in an abusive relationship, which he thought was so funny. He's like, this idiot told me she was in an abusive relationship. I'm like, yeah, you really, really zinged me on that one. So he goes, I want to make sure that you don't weigh 300 pounds. Weigh, W-A-Y. 300 pounds. So I was like, no, I don't weigh 300 pounds. So then he writes back, like, this is the next day now. He's like, hey, I talked about you on my show today. So now this is somebody that's basically a sock account that was created a week ago. He just reached out to. He asked the person if they want to go to dinner. They were like, yeah, maybe someday. And now he's talking about it on his show. So this is where his prospect for romance and friendship is, right? It's like, this is noteworthy. So he asked me again the next day, want to have dinner? And so I said, sure, if I'm ever out in Los Angeles, like I'll reach out to you. Maybe me, you, and Brian can go have dinner, Brian Caram. He's like, you're so gorgeous. I'm going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to Atlantic City for the Super Bowl. Can I fly you in?
Oh,
Okay.
right. Can Brock Lee fly you in?
Right. So yeah, like he had just been saying to Brock, like, Brock, you're gonna still hook me, right? So I said, wow, thanks so much. That's quite an offer. Like, but I don't really know you. Now, mind you, I didn't reach out to him. So his whole like, I know this is a catfishing thing. He reached out to me. Like,
That's
it's the
incredible.
Perfect,
That's
it's
the most incredible part. You were fishing in a different pond. You put,
Right.
you put the fucking lure out, and everybody jumped over the medium.
No.
Excuse me, Mr. Fisherman. I'm terribly hungry.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. I was looking in the bait bucket with just a bare hook in the water, and John jumped in the boat and was like, I need a friend so badly.
Yeah.
Will you have sex with me?
Sticks a fish hook in his mouth.
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick, for people who aren't following this as closely as all of we are, obviously, there's this meetup thing going on in Atlantic City around the Super Bowl time. There's a comedy show involved. There's a lot of like Misery Loves Company people involved in it. And I think Bob Levy. Anyway, so John was invited to go there or something. And one of the super chatters, one of the beloved chatters, Brock Lee, told John he would pay for his flight to get him out there. And John immediately turned that generosity into, my buddy Hitman Dan has to drive down from Long Island. It's going to be a lot of gas, and it's going to take him a long time to get there. Do you think you could give him a couple $100? So as soon as like this guy tells John, yeah, I'll do you a favor. I'll get you a flight out to Atlantic City to do this thing. John's always looking for, what else could you give me? It's like a homeless person. Like, don't give a homeless person $5 because then they want 20.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. Anyway.
Yeah. So so with that generosity, he is now going, I will use my SAG check to fly this random girl out who is half my age and I've never met before.
Also, Rhode Island to Jersey, like a 3-hour drive, I think. I don't know if you need to waste money on a
not
flight.
crazy. Yeah, right.
Hey. I got to get something
You're a
out of
classy
this.
gal, I understand.
Right.
So he keeps pressing the issue. He keeps trying to get her to go to AC. So I said, well, thanks so much. I'll think about it. I said, what's the occasion? And he says, well, a bunch of podcasters and fans of mine are going to AC. This is a quote. They support me big time, so I thought it would be fun.
Okay, so this is where John's recognizing, if I'm going to score with this hot chick, I got to show her I'm a big deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Atlantic City, people will recognize me, and she'll be like, wow, you must be famous. Everyone knows who you are.
But this is where
Right.
John will say he's in on it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but okay.
I knew.
Yeah, but again, this is one of those things. Like it's probably true. He probably does know that there are traps being set for him, but he's like, what is this clam doing with the big hook in its mouth swimming right in front of me? Like I didn't ask him to go. And this is,
Right.
well, I'll get to it in a minute. But anyway, so he says a bunch of podcasters are getting together, a bunch of fans of his, they support him so much, so he has to go. So he says, look, it's all good. Let's just have a wonderful experience together. I love unexpected adventures. He says, I'm going either way, but it would be nice to have someone there that I know. And I'm like, me?
Who would that be? Yeah.
Me? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, but we just started talking 31 hours ago.
Old
that's
friends.
Yeah.
He
And then
didn't get as far as asking you like what you're wearing or anything.
No. All right. So
You're
listen.
in sex
this is-
with Stuttering John.
Now, Andy, mind you, I just got done fucking with this guy pretty hard. So as much as Cardiff schooled me against it, I'm trying, I want to just go headlong right into this thing and start fucking around. But you got to take it slow. Even I know that as a troll, right? You got to ease into it. He already wants me to fly out to AC. So now this is the best part. For all his talk about how he knew he was a troll, he sends me a phone number and he's like, call me at this number. Right. So now he wants to see, obviously I tried to get my wife to call, but she said she didn't want any part of this.
Oh, come on!
I know. And then I was going to ask
Wisely, yes.
I was going to ask one of my clients to do it, but I'm like, that might be weird.
Yeah.
So I just told her, I'm like, look, I'm not comfortable giving out my number. Like, we'll talk and everything, but can we just keep it on here? So I was able to verify, I won't say through who, but I was able to verify it's his real number. So if he was in on it, let's just assume he was. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He's in on it. But he's so dumb that he's giving a troll his actual phone number. And he's like, I don't know. This is kind of what he did last time too. It's like he goes back and he makes up the story that
He's not.
I don't know
in
that
on
makes
it.
a lot of sense.
See, this is the thing with John. John's suspicious all the time.
Yeah,
He
but
assumes
too
that
dumb.
something could bite him in the ass, but it doesn't mean he's in on it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
not like
he's
Patrick
suspicious
Michael
but has
or-
no restraint.
Yeah, Patty C. Cups doesn't believe anybody that says anything positive to him.
Right.
He's just
Right.
like, oh, if
He
you
ignores
like-
the email.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't
John
respond.
hasn't learned that lesson
Yeah.
yet.
No, he has not.
So
Well, this is a desperate guy. Desperate
Yes.
for friendship,
Oh, God.
desperate for pussy, and that's what we're seeing here.
yeah. So next thing is I say to him, all right, well, if you want me to go out there, I said, do you have other friends going out there? Because if you're going to be like being famous all weekend, then I'm going to be stuck either alone or with your other friends.
Good
And he's
point.
like, no, I have no other friends coming out. It's just going to be me. So he would have let someone come out there and just hang out with Hitman Dan. Like, go get Dan his Percocet. Right?
If that doesn't get the ladies wet.
Yeah. So I go, so are you going to be performing? And he says, I don't think so, unless the price is right. There's a show on that Saturday night, but I'm flying out Thursday. So he gives me all his details. He tells me the hotel. He tells me all this stuff. All right. So now we're on like day 3 of me conversing with him. And I think it was a show where Chad was on there being like, I'm going to cut John's fucking head off. Like just all sorts of craziness. Right.
Yeah.
And John's playing the clips on the show. So I message him and I'm like, hey, I've really been thinking about this Atlantic City thing. But like, I saw that you playing videos of a guy who's threatening to like murder you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's safe.
It's kind of a
right?
turn off.
Yeah. As much as I want to see if you're a real human being. And
I don't want to
says,
catch feelings for a guy that's going to get
yeah, to
beheaded.
be murdered in any moment. So he says,
I've been down this track before.
I said, being famous doesn't seem like it's all that glorious. And he said, no. He goes, he's just a lunatic. He's trying to get some fame off me. You see, this is a direct quote. You see, I make a lot of money podcasting. So these wackos all try to start shit with me to get some traction going. I promise you have nothing to fear. You'll be safe by my side. That I can guarantee.
And Chad's that could be true when it comes to Chad. Chad could be doing this to get eyeballs on him. He's fucking with Stuttering John, but the rest of us not so much.
So now again, and this is the thing that I think like Jimmy Dabble's stuff really points to, is that John has said this stuff enough that he believes it. He believes Carl posted his book. He believes that, all of these things that he repeats over and over, he believes they happened. He believes that Howard wronged him. Right? Because he just says them all the time over and over, and he's the only person he interacts with.
Right.
So he's telling me, like he's on his show saying, I made $5,000, which not to be disrespectful to anybody, but it's like $5,000 in a month is not a lot of money. You can accidentally make $5,000 in a month. Right.
Well, this is the point that we've been making a lot is John's so proud of himself. He had his biggest month in December and he made $5,000 and he's betting people. I bet you I made $5,000. I'll bet 500 or 2,500 or whatever the fuck his bets are and all this shit. And it comes down to it. You're like, well, that's your only source of income. That's not.
He's bragging that he's like, I bet you my dick is 2 inches. And you're like,
Yeah,
I bet it is.
yeah. It's like, I believe you.
So
He's on the internet every day.
He's taking the under.
He's on YouTube every day for hours a day, reading super chats that are goofing on him nonstop and then bragging about how much money he's making, which is barely a living where he lives.
And it's
Free
not a
tax
living
also.
for an
Right, yeah,
adult.
I wonder if he pays taxes on this. John, remember how you didn't pay taxes on the $110,000 Jay Leno gave you? You better pay taxes on this YouTube stuff. Just FYI, anyway.
So all right. So then he starts going into this. I'm asking him if he likes to do rails and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, I'll do anything. And then he starts sending me clips of. Okay, he sends me a clip of Stuttering John performing Gypsy Morning on Conan O'Brien.
Oh, no.
And it's the one with the terrible solo, Carl.
Yes.
It's that awful solo.
I played that, of course, in Detroit. We played that guitar solo, but what a fucking moron.
So then he gives me his whole resume, right? So then at one point he's on the show and he had asked me if I want to go out for catfish one time. This is the thing, if you watch John enough, you see he does like he'll
very
say,
clever.
Can't beat this. You want to go for catfish.
He'll go on, like he was going on when I told him about Tim Dransky, he'd be like, so I know a guy named Tiny Tim and he's a doctor, Ansky. But he doesn't explain what it is. He's just like sending out his little dog whistles or whatever it is, right?
Right.
Would you like to go to a restaurant called Imposters?
Yeah. It's called Sock Accounts.
What's your favorite Who song?
So I write back to him and I'm like, he was talking about how everyone was trying to scam him. And so I write to him and I'm like, John, you're saying I noticed on your show tonight, you keep talking about everyone trying to scam you. And I just like, I don't know, maybe I'm being paranoid, but I feel like you were talking about me. Like, that seems really weird that you are saying that. And we just started talking. And I said, I've never asked you for anything. I don't want anything from you. I just thought you'd be a nice guy to chat with.
Tim's going through a real breakup here. He's feeling the emotions.
This is incredible. I have all of these. I have not read them yet, but this sounds like I would say A+ trolling.
So,
and this is how you do it.
So I'm like, John, I said, I understand like why, that does seem like there are a lot of people who are making a living by making fun of you and like buying multiple houses and stuff. I get why you wouldn't be trustworthy, but I said, You reached out to me. I didn't even follow you. Like, you reached out to me. You offered to fly me out to AC. I said that if I go, I'd pay my own way. And so I'm like, if you don't want to talk to me, you don't have to.
Yeah,
because I know
you
like,
had to remind him of that because he's going to forget how this all started, even though it was less than a week ago.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. Yeah, like at this point, literally, we're like 4 days into talking. So
it's incredible.
I just said like, look, I'm not someone who asks for things for people. Like, I have my own issues, and I'm not trying to move too fast, and blah blah blah. So I said, I think you're catfishing me, but I showed this to my friend Susan. And she told me how Twitter works and blah, blah. And he's like, I'm not catfishing. So it's like that easy to just like turn him around.
Yeah. Hey, I want to pause your story real quick.
Sure.
Because you just reminded me of something that I want to talk about. When John goes on his show, you guys have been watching him this week. He goes, I was talking to my buddy today, and they think that Carla is a real piece of shit. I was talking to my buddy today, and he agrees with me. My buddy and I were talking about how much Shuli is such a Shuli. So it turns out, when John says talking to my buddy, it's some random person who DM'd him.
Yes. I was going to say that because he did it with me when I was Tim Dransky, and he did it with this person. And it's so funny when you're watching the show because he never says like, oh, I was talking with Dan or I was talking with Mike. It's always my buddy. And some of the times he says my buddy, I go, that's what I told him.
Yep.
Like, hey, that's something I said. And then he'll say my buddy, and it's not something I said. And I'm like, oh shit, this is some other guy. Who's
is he cheating on me?
Yeah. But there's a tell in there too, because when John is talking to Leo Gunn or Broccoli, who are super chatters who have also infiltrated John, who knows what they're up to? We'll find out. But John's talking on the phone with these people now and stuff. He'll mention them by name. If he's talking to Hitman Dan, he'll mention it by name. When he just says, I was talking to my buddy, that's just a random person who DM'd him, who's obviously setting him up for something because they're agreeing with his ridiculous points.
That's also left an impression on him because when we were just talking about him simping for Gina Bobina, he also said, I'll fly you to AC.
Oh,
do you remember that?
You're right.
Yes, because I called him out about it, and I go, John, I saw on your show, you invited some other girl. I said, and you asked, he asked her, and I go, and you asked her to set you up with someone in AC. I go, I've already booked a flight. Like, I'm coming down there to see you.
Now
and
you're
he's
jealous?
Like, he goes, he goes, never. Well, Andy, what? This isn't what a woman would do. I'm trying to keep a little bit of
it. No, you're
reality.
killing it.
So I go, John, like, that's so disrespectful. And he's like, never forget, I am a comedian and this is a show. And I was like, oh, it sure is. I go, oh my God, I totally forgot. I'm like, I forgot you were on Conan.
Show.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Tim,
So-
what is your name in this scenario? Like your
Jen,
avatar.
the account's called like
Jen sounds like a hippo.
it's
Sounds
called
like a pig.
it's called like Fit Girl. Hold on a second. Fit Girl, Funny Girl.
Okay.
All right.
So
real quick,
I'll get
I want
to the end. Sorry.
Well, let's tease it. Can you hang out for a minute?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Because if you guys listened to the show last night, he was talking about getting catfished.
Yes.
So he's the one who brought this up, which is why I thought it was appropriate to bring Tim on to talk about this. And this is fascinating to me. I just the inner workings of John. If anyone has been following WATP lately, I'm very bored of John's performative, pretending to be outraged by things and trying to like put on a show and like, look at how gross I am. And look at, it's like, okay, we get it. What I like about John is learning about the real Stuttering John, which is why the Jimmy Dabble stuff is fascinating to me. Reading through, like I said, I spent hours the other day reading through that stuff.
Yeah.
And these interactions he has behind the scenes.
The horny creepiness.
Horny, creepy guy trying to hook up with multiple girls in AC, playing the numbers. Well, if I invite Kate Meany and 2 of her friends and this chick, and Gina Bobina, yeah, one of the chicks is going to fuck me. I know how this works. But real quick, before we get to that exciting conclusion, I want to thank Colonel Clink, $2. Missy, can you touch your elbows behind your back? Andy, will you do it since she's no longer here?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Tony, bag of donuts, $5. Wife just asked about credit card bill with super chats on it. Anyone got a good cover story? That's funny. 1971 Puffy, $50. Thank you very much, 1971 Puffy. And that is an FKB FSJ. And we do appreciate that.
Bye, Brennan.
You even get a jingle, a Cardiff jingle for that one. No more Shoolies equals world peace, $2. No anti-Semitism. Oy vey, I'm out of here. Blind Mike world
BMW.
order.
I thought that was like a German thing. The BMW order.
Oh,
Blind Mike World Order. BMWO.
I asked the jingles department for a fun one, but he misunderstood the assignment. I wanted a Tukey World Order. TWOWL. I don't know. Dorby, $10. Missy B, when did you start to get creepy vibes from the Dabbler? Well, when he was hitting on her at her own house with her boyfriend next to her in the basement while they were playing poker.
when he said, "Hello, I'm Stuttering John."
Right, yeah.
Short Fridays, $2. Did Missy B just say it was so gay? LOL.
Probably.
Knuckle Deep in Night. Wow. Joey C. and now Ken Otto Carl. Please sacrifice Andy to get rid of this dabbler death curse. I think Joey C's okay. Wendy's Cat, $5. Love how smug SJ acted like he knew from the beginning about your video from 2022 talking about your dad when he had no fucking idea until Vince the lawyer told him. Yeah, that's the one thing. I'm going to mute Tim real quick. I'm sorry, buddy. You're making some noise over there. That is the one thing that you'll always notice about Stuttering John is that it's so obvious when he's lying. He's so bad at it. It's so transparent. Mm-hmm. I knew all along. Okay.
He gets like that. Go ahead, Mike.
His thing where he's like, I don't even. What did he not post that? Did he not talk about it already? Like, it's such bad acting. Him trying to pretend he's completely innocent.
Well, he's a podcast. I assumed that he was talking about it on a show. I mean, must have thought. But then again, I don't even know if he has cancer.
Yeah.
How would I know?
How would I know?
He gets like a touch of indignant. You know, whenever that indignant tone creeps in, you know he's lying.
Mm-hmm. Herb Beta Patch, $5. Comedy is fundamentally rooted in truth. That's why Holocaust jokes aren't funny.
I get it.
Hunter Duke, $5. Everyone checked out All Apologies Podcast Patreon. Everyone.
And
check out All Apologies Podcast Patreon. Not coming soon. Carl Hamburger apologizes to a male Karen and a wet brain idiots. Yes. Not coming anytime soon. Andy's podcast, the All Apologies Podcast.
Thank you, Hunter. Yeah.
Where can people find that?
allapologiespodcast.com.
Beautiful. And of course, blindmike.net.
Oh, thank you.
That's where you want to go for all things Blind Mike. Thank you for spending some time with us today, Mike.
Oh, please, anytime.
Tony Bag of Donuts, $5. Tragedy is when I cut my finger. Comedy is when you fall into an open sewer and die. Mel Brooks. Tamale Hunter says, episode idea. A simple John Google search shows all the places he has lived in, from his New York apartment, Calabasas mansion, and now a small room across from graffiti in L.A. Shows how he lost it all.
And that's just one of 7 million people that have Googled Stuttering John.
See? This is how popular I am. That's funny. Patrick Melton's disgusting wife, $2. Carl has teeth only a mother/wife could love. I get it. Dang Lizard, €5. Devil me this, Mr. Naptime. How can John be the bad guy when he wished your father the best?
That's true. That's a good point.
It's like saying he's not Artie's best friend. John really is a words speak louder than actions kind of guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's amazing. He's so gracious with his words.
I don't know if you know this. He cried when he thought Artie Lang died once.
Oh,
so
I know.
They are pretty good friends, I think.
Of course. I remember, this goes back years, but I remember we played a clip of Artie going, John, we're not friends. We were never friends. And John's going, that's not true. And I go, you know how you know you were never friends? One of the people in his friendship said you were never friends. That's how that works, dummy. Big Daddy Dodo, $5 to help with the goal. Oh, wait, wrong show.
Yeah.
There's no goal here. Oh, that's the other thing that got brought up on the BS show this morning that I didn't even see. Maybe you guys did. Apparently, John, once again, I did see this. He showed all his DMs. Like, he loves to share his screen on Twitter, and it shows all the DMs that he has. And April Imholt, he's DMing with Aaron's wife. Not Aaron and April, just April. That's fucked up, man.
Scumbag.
Yeah, I mean, you don't DM with a woman for friendship reasons.
A married woman. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what the goal is there, obviously.
He just wants to fly her out to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Noga with $5. Sorry about the trolling yesterday. I didn't know your wife uses a walker. How dare you? How dare you, Noga? Tony Baloney, $2. Just want to say hello. FTWONWO. Noga again, $5. Is that why you always talk about John's wife because she was young and hot and yours is geriatric? Got me again, Noga. Mikey Forrester, $10. I had a bizarre dream where Carl was trying to convince me to become an animal rights activist. He was cradling a sick monkey and crying. I awoke in a cold sweat. Well, that is a very scary dream. Sorry to hear that. Abby Normal, $5. Damn it, forgot to add my chat. Missy's Tukey and Blind Mike's Opie gives me warm and fuzzies. Happy Dabble Friday. What's your Opie, Mike?
I know how to do radio, Carl.
Mike and I, we do this show called Who Are These Socials, Thursdays at 6 o'clock.
Great show.
And Mike finds Opie's TikTok, and it's the most embarrassing videos. Opie did this trolling video where he gets on a bus, and there's a line for the bus. He's getting up on the bus, and he goes to the bus driver, is this going to Philadelphia? And they're like, no, it's not this bus. He's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. And then people are just like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, I'm so embarrassed. Like, who are you trolling?
He starts playing the Curb theme on his phone.
That would be better. He's not even doing that.
It's
Put
like
it
an
in
eighth
post.
grader trying to get in with like the funny table, like just doing anything to get noticed, basically.
Right. Steve Morton, $5. SJ sleeping off his morning beers counts as napping, right? I don't know the parameters around napping. I'm not a napping expert, unfortunately. Joe Corson Wright, $2. My bad. It was a knock on easy for you to say. Yes, no, I get it. I understood that part.
I sussed it out.
Yeah, we got it. My boy Penis Wrinkle coming in, $5. And props to Penis Wrinkle, who said, you know what, I've been giving John $2 at a time and insulting him, but now that he's stooped to this new law, I'm not even going to do that. Word on the street is WTP is failing. The tides are turning, Carl. How much do you make a month off Patreon again? I know. Again, that's the thing where these people, I don't know if they live in the moment. I think that's how they really think in their lives. Like, one of these days. And John even said this week on his show. He's like, Lady K didn't realize I have millions of fans from the Howard Stern show. And they're going to see this guy is bullying me and they're all going to turn on him. Like, he really thinks like he's going to have this redemption. It's going to happen in one day and everything's going to change.
But I also don't get the KB argument about the viewership and the numbers. Like, the shows are appointment television that everybody is setting their watch to show up and check out. It's just like, I don't know.
KB's a fucking
people are
idiot.
fucking busy that day. You know, it's like
Kevin Brennan's a moron.
I don't
He
plan my
thinks-
whole day out around Misery Loves Company.
Kevin Brennan thinks the same way that Chad Zumach does. If you have 900 people watching, it's a failure. If you have 1150,
Yeah, right.
you're winning.
The thing I said about Kevin Brennan when he was going after Hack Ride, and he was talking about like Hack Ride's numbers, and I was like, Kevin, if I think the example I used was if Mr. Beast is one end of the spectrum,
Yes.
and Hack Ride is the other. Kevin is much closer to Hack Ride than Mr. Beast.
Right.
Yeah. It's like when they talk about the entire span of Earth, and they go,
yes,
all right,
yeah,
here's
yeah.
how long Earth has been in existence. And they go, here's how long humans have been on this Earth.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Beast.
Right.
So Kevin's not even in the dinosaur period. It's way back. Let's see, did I read this one? Jack Me Off, folk metal blues rock, James Page, Jimmy Page, Kyle Axe, $2. With John's imaginary fights, he's dumb
Coyote.
I get it, kind of. Knight's Magina, $50. Yo, sup, fellas?
Knight's Mangina.
I don't know what that means.
What does this say? Yo, sup, fellas? Ferrat time, chatta. Enjoy the shows, Carl. Also, Mike, why don't you wear your sunglasses on KMS?
I only wear them because I have light pointing at me here, and I'm directly on camera. Whereas we used to do audio only, so we were never on camera. So I just never started wearing them on KMS.
How embarrassing! Oh, this guy's over.
I've been exposed.
You've been exposed.
It's mainly for your guys' sake. I can take them down if you want.
There you go. See,
You look cool.
See,
I
there's
gotta say.
eyes. He has eyes there. Don't lie to him, Andy. Just because he's blind, you're gonna lie to him. It's
Cooler than me. I mean, I already said you're cool. Obviously, my opinion is skewed.
Homer Simpson. You're cool. That was so mean.
Yeah.
Bob Levy for life with $28. I get the feeling KB is spiraling and lashing out at happily married people because he's worried his wife will finally leave. Now that there's real money to be paid by KB in alimony and child support, what's got you paying, KB? Wow, Bob Levy for life, long time MLC supporter. Started to see there's some cracks in the armor right there. Patrick S. Tomlinson, $2. DWO Duransky World Order. All right, with that, we'll get back to Tim
Bring him back.
Duransky. But I do want to say, Don, $5. John tells kids, I was the announcer for Jay Leno. If I could do that, then you could be announcer of a great show too. School! Anyone could be any announcer that they want to be. All right, where do we leave off, Deb?
Okay, so at some point, I don't know exactly what it. I don't know exactly what it was that happened, but John came to me and I said to him like, "Hey, I saw you talking about people being a scam. Or if you're saying I'm a scam, we can just stop talking and blah blah
Right.
blah." And so he said, "Well, I don't want you to be. I've been dreaming of someone like you to come along, and I love the idea of you. But I think you're a scam, and I've known all along." So I said, "All right, if you think I'm a scam, then let's just stop talking. I don't need to talk to you anymore." I'm like, "You reached out to me. I didn't message you and ask to go to AC. You messaged
Tim's
me."
just like, I can make infinite sock accounts. So
Yeah.
we can stop on this one and start up a new one.
I love
Yeah,
that. I've been dreaming about somebody like you. He's laying face down on his inflatable mattress with his feet up in the air, reading his phone, trying to think
Yeah.
of something romantic to write to Tim Duransky.
He literally said, he goes, "Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm just a single successful guy. You have no idea the scams they have going." And so I said, "It doesn't seem good if a bunch of people are trying to scam you all the time."
Even his catfish character is trying to teach John life lessons.
Mike, it's impossible. I'm telling you, I went through the same thing last time with him. It is so hard to like stay in character because he's such a piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
you just want to say right at the outset, you want to go, dude, when you ask, like, first of all, why are you asking a woman her age? First question. Like my picture doesn't look like I'm 14, right? And then you ask like my weight. It's like, what?
He asked your weight?
Well, he said, I want to make
He
sure
said,
you're
I
not
don't know.
300
You might be
pounds.
300 pounds.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what if I
Right.
was, Dick?
Yeah.
Yeah, what an asshole.
Then lose my number.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He goes, you've never even told me your last name. And I go, John, you never asked my last name.
Yeah.
I go, you haven't asked anything about me other than if I weigh 300 pounds. So this is the interesting part too. So obviously he's onto it a little bit, right? At least a little bit. Let's say a lot. He's onto it a lot. So he blocks me. So now
Why?
I can't DM. I don't know, because that's what he does when he thinks he's being scammed.
Well, remember,
he just
he
blocks.
goes, I think you might be a scam.
Yeah.
And so he wrote back, well, if you think I'm a scam, we can end this right now.
I have to protect my heart.
Right, exactly.
I'm imagining Tim taking sad walks through the rain after he got blocked by John.
Well, no, what actually is happening is I'm thinking to myself, well, do I message him and just like, do I reach out with another account and just go, haha, fucking dummy, Dransky strikes again? Like, what do I do? And then I thought, I channeled my inner Cardiff, and I just heard like, patience, son, be patient. And so I waited.
A blue Force Ghost potato is floating in front of you.
Oh.
I waited, and like 15 minutes later, he unblocks me and he starts messaging again.
So he's just sitting there thinking about it, just like, but it might be real. You know what? It's true. She didn't reach out to me first.
This is a real
Pussy's pussy.
Will they or won't they?
All right, so did you fuck him in Atlantic City or not?
So
I keep waiting for Tim to be like, so we are engaged and we'd love for you to come.
So my wife is fucking him right now.
Sweet. Oh God. She wouldn't even call him, unfortunately. If I could have gotten her out there for the bit, I would have done it. So I just say, I'm like, whatever, this is weird. I'm like, if you don't want to talk to me, don't talk to me. I don't know. Like, this is so crazy. Like what a person would say if they weren't following all the Dabbleverse. Right. So he blocks me. Then he comes back on and he says, if you don't think these guys would catfish me, think again. They're preying on my romantic nature. He says, I'm being bullied by 20 shows.
Uh-oh.
Did I lose you?
That's John.
Yeah.
Pulling the strings.
Tim, are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my God, I was getting upset that I was gonna learn how this ended.
Yeah.
No,
So
Tim, let me ask you before you keep going.
Go ahead.
Are
Yep.
you even enjoying this interaction at this point,
Good
or
point.
is
Seems
this
like work.
becoming work? Yeah, this sounds so
You're like, "Ah,
stressful
shit."
now.
Yeah, what I get myself into.
Well, no. So it's funny because you're so interested to see. Like, I feel like there's John, not even like the performative John or not, but there's John that you see when he's like putting on his show. And like Carl said, this is the interesting shit. Yeah. Like in his Jimmy Dabbles paperwork, he actually said to his wife, like, if I won the lottery, I'd give you all the money. Right? It's like, what a pathetic / mentally retarded thing to say.
Again, that is doing a favor by just saying something.
Right. And it's also bullshit because Jay Leno handed him over what amounts to a lottery winning, and he didn't give her any of it.
It's also a way of saying you have a 1 in 70 billion shot of getting money out of it.
So there's this terribly interesting thing where it's like he has this performative thing, but now just by virtue of like he's a dancing monkey. So whenever he knows someone is watching, it's like light being observed. It doesn't act the same when it's being observed. So these are instances in which like he's
smart. Are you a science teacher? This is getting real smart over here. Holy shit!
Oh shit! I'm glad you just said that. You know what else he told me? He
He's
told
a science
me.
teacher.
No, he told me.
Do you know what
that,
the biggest planet is?
I asked him why he got fired from his job. I go, hey, you mentioned that you were a teacher. Why aren't you a teacher anymore? And he said, they got me fired from my job. And I said, well, how did they do that? Yeah. I go, that sounds crazy. What did they just like super chat your, school? He said, no. He said, someone contacted the school and they sent him Twitter posts. And then they contacted the school and they sent clips of his shows showing a bunch of anti-Semitism.
Boom.
And that's what ended up getting him fired was the
somebody
anti-Semitism.
made them aware of what I was up to.
That's the most groundbreaking.
Someone drew attention to my behavior.
That's the most groundbreaking thing of this entire interview so far. That is proof that John got himself fired. We all said it like, Judd, you're acting like a buffoon on the internet. You're making a lot of bad decisions here. You're going to get yourself fired. And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, I thought that was a given. Like, just anybody catches wind of what he's up to would be like, well, I don't want that person
Yeah, but we
around
didn't get
children.
confirmation until just now, though. Wow.
They
Yeah,
railroaded
so-
me by holding me accountable for my actions.
Yeah.
Who saw it going that way?
So he comes back on and he starts telling me about how I have to understand because it was just all, I'm too good to be true. And everyone's always trying to scam him and everyone takes advantage of him. And he's too good a guy and he's too
That's
trusting.
gonna make you feel good. He's really giving
Yeah,
you.
well,
you're really a light in a dark world of Stuttering John.
Yes.
But think about this for a minute. Like if we put aside all the humor that John brings to the table,
Sure.
this is a guy who was on the Howard Stern show. He was the announcer for the Tonight Show. He did get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. He has a book. He had a band signed to the same label as Led Zeppelin. He did all of these things.
Yep.
And he's sitting in a 400 square foot room in Canoga, clinging on to the idea that this woman who started a Twitter account 4 minutes ago and who is very pretty is longing to fuck a fat old drunk guy with no money and no connection to any family or any friends. That's what he's holding on to. And
You've summed this up well, sir.
he knows, and the best part is he knows it's not real. It's like you're sitting at your desk and you go, all you have is that you go, if I open this check from the Publishers Clearinghouse, I know it's not real, but it also might be the answer to all my money problems. That is what John is.
That's me laughing at you, fucking loser.
So I know I've dragged this on for too long, but in the end, I kind of,
compelling.
as Carl has been saying, there wasn't really a good out strategy and it was going to take too long. Oh, I will tell you this. At one point I told him I booked a ticket. I sent him a confirmation. I showed him all the stuff that, whatever, because he's dumb.
God, his
And then he
messaged
messaged-
so fucking hard.
He messages,
The squeegee
God.
came not long after that.
but Carl, then he messages me and he goes, "You're going to kill me." This is after he unblocked me and did this whole mea culpa thing. He goes, "You're going to kill me." I go, "Why?" I go, "You're going to say I'm a scam again?" He goes, "No, I gave you the wrong date for when I'm going to be there."
Ooh.
So I'm like, "Okay, when are you going to be there?" He's like, "Well, I booked the room for the right date. It's the 10th." But he booked his flight and my flight, and told me to book my flight for the 2nd, February 2nd. So he's like, now I have to eat that plane ticket. And I'm thinking, no, now Brock's got to eat that fucking plane ticket.
Oh my god.
He booked it for the wrong date.
Talk
So-
about retarded.
Yeah.
Talk about retarded.
By the way, I just want to point this out. You don't have to eat it. You can just change the flight. It's really not that. The website is right there. You just be like,
Very
"Do you need
hungry,
to
Carl.
change this?" Like, yes, I do.
Carl, listen, you think if it was his money, he would walk to the airport to get it back.
Yeah, no shit.
But for Brock's money, he doesn't give a shit. So it was all kind of coming to a head. He was saying all this stuff about your wife and everything, and I kind of wanted to be able to give him a good needle back.
Yeah.
I hope, hey John, if you're listening to this, and I'm sure that you are, this is how fucking dumb you are. The same person has a monthly reminder on his phone to humiliate you in public again. I'll do it next month. I'll do it the month after that. And listen, Johnny boy, you can tell all the stories you want of all the wonderful things you used to do.
Yep.
But all
You
of
will.
those things have brought you to the same road as my little cousin Jeffrey. My little cousin Jeffrey also has a shitty apartment and no job. But he's in college still. So all
He's a
of your
bright future.
accomplishments,
Yeah.
you have pissed it all away. I don't even know if his future's bright. It might not be.
Okay.
But even that
College.
demonstrates my point even more.
Yeah.
Is that, John, it's all gone. And it's a cottage industry fucking with you. And people are making money from it. So I'll
Hold
see
on.
you again next month, dummy.
Yeah.
Tim Drancy, let's get real for a second. The only reason why we make fun of John is because he's so famous and we're all very
exactly.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all wanted to be him in the Howard Stern show. I know Blind Mike, when he was 3 years old, he's like, "Mommy, turn on Howard Stern. I want to hear Stuttering John's interviewing celebrities today."
I hear he's met Ringo today.
Carl, here's a question, right? If you had to look back at your life, right? You look back at the span of your life,
Yeah.
At what age would you have said, I'll switch where my life is right now with John's? Like, I think about this question. I think I would have, if like when I was 8 years old, somebody said, you can be where Stuttering John is now, I would be like, I get to stay up late. I get to eat all the candy I want. There is no adult who is looking at Stuttering John and going like, that's
Right.
what I want.
Yeah.
I know, and John likes to play this game where he says he wishes he was me or had my career, and maybe I'm wired differently. Maybe that's how John thinks, other people think. I've never once wanted to trade places with anyone. I live my life very purposely to do what I want to do. I enjoy my life a lot, so I love everything that I do. If I got the opportunity tomorrow, I would be me.
But even John doesn't do anything where you're like, oh, that sounds awesome. Like maybe he used to, like the Stern
Right.
Show and shit like that.
All right, so maybe Jeffrey Epstein in 1998. But other than that, I wouldn't trade places. Oh shit! Did I say that?
Now,
That's the
just
point
for
of
my own OCD take on this whole scenario, Tim, how did this finish out or unravel after the flight thing? Does John know that it was a work or what?
No, so I ended up like, I kind of wanted to bring it to a head because I thought it would be a funny time to roll it out, and I also knew that he was gonna get close to, like, he kept demanding that I call him,
Right.
which I'm still gonna, because I have.
He
his
does
phone
that to
number.
everybody.
Yeah, I have his phone, but he gives his phone number. He's like, this guy's unbelievable. So anyway, so I said to him, I'm like, John, I had messaged him a couple times and he took a long time to reply, which usually he does not. He's a needy boy, this John.
Sure.
So he didn't reply, and I was like, oh, you must be having a late night out with the boys. Like, hope you're having fun or whatever. And then the next day I saw that he saw the message. And I was like, honey, what's going on? I didn't hear from you. And he's like, oh, I was at the pub. I was busy. So I'm like, John, I'm starting to get a sense that you're not like as comfortable with this as you were before. I said, I know we've never really talked about it, but I'm starting to think that maybe the trans thing has you feeling uncomfortable. And I had I had dropped hints along the way about saying like, I don't judge, because of what I've been through, I don't judge people based on what other people see on the outside. And it's like, it's who you are that counts, not what's on your body, like all those kind of fucking things. And so
John's like, yeah, whatever. Pays it no mind.
John was like, at this point, I will have sex with the trans. That is not a deterrent.
I laughed my ass off.
So he said something about, he's like, oh, I love trans people. I'm in love with a woman named Carla. She's fugly, but I would still do her. And I'm kind of thinking like, so at this point, let's assume that he does know that it's fake, right? Like that's kind of, that's basically the reveal.
For sure.
But why would you, again, like if you really don't like what people are saying about your kid, you'd be like, that's not funny, dickhead. Like, fuck you. Why do you think, like, come on out, have a good time, asshole, or go fuck you. But he's like, yeah, you fucking trans broad. Yeah. Like Carla, like he's so incapable of just stopping himself from being a spectacle. Like that, even when you go, hey, John, I'm putting you up on the stage to look dumb. He goes, well, I'll show you. I'll do my soliloquy from Romeo and Juliet. You're like, there you go. That's my boy. Do your thing. Like he can't help it. So the ending wasn't particularly great. But just to see like,
the interactions. That is
what
so
he is at all
fascinating to me.
times.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. The way you set the trap was brilliant.
I think
crazy.
it's the perfect ending to be like, oh, this person that you've been chatting with the whole time is a trans person. Even if it was just like, oh, completely fake, whatever, but still putting that out there, like, well, just throwing it in his face, like all of his hypocrisy.
I kind of wish if I had gotten to it a little bit sooner, it would have been funny to see, like, would he have just ghosted me? Like, he was asking me to call, and I was saying to my wife, I'm like, you got to call this guy. And she's like, when he comes and murders you, I'm hoping that, like, our lives will be spared.
Yeah.
But if I had gotten to it a little bit earlier, it would have been interesting to see if he was like, oh, all right, well, I'm not interested in trans people, but come on out. It might be fun. Like, or would he just ghost me? It would have been interesting to see what his response was.
Yeah, you could have
Instead his response was, no, Carl's trans.
Right.
Yeah.
You could have done a Mrs. Norton impression and seen how he felt about that. All right. Well, Tim, Dude, thank you so much. You put so much time and effort into this stuff, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see the inner workings of Stuttering John Melendez and where he's at this particular stage. So thank you for coming out and talking to us, Tim.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys, and keep up with the good work. I'll see you in 45 days. I'll be creating a new account tonight.
Fuck yeah. We'll be back in 45 days. Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
The roadrunner to John's Wile E. Coyote.
Tim Dransky, everybody. John the actor. I do have a couple more things that I want to talk about. Are you guys okay? I know we're up against it, but we don't have a specific
I have a
time
little
period.
I'm
You
not
have a
up
little bit?
against anything.
Okay.
Yeah, like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, let's move quickly. I appreciate the support here. People are participating in the chat, and I want to get to it. John the actor, $2. SJ dunking on a guy whose dad has cancer. Yeah, he got me good. Connor, $5. Apropos of nothing, how does the blind guy have the best groomed facial hair here? Motherfucker.
Oh, really? It's getting a little shaggy, though.
I was going to
could
say,
use
I
it before.
was just at the salon today.
The salon.
I was at a salon today. Soon single Louisa Ladivza. Jordan Lake, did Carol show proof Vince is muttering Jay? No, but I only have 48 hours to do so. So I better get on it. Because
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Vince, the lawyer, I guess, said today that I have 48 hours to prove that he's muttering Jay, or else, I don't know, some bad things are going to happen to me.
Or else.
Yeah.
Or I'll just keep saying it.
Something bad's going to happen. Jason Bentley, $50. Thank you so much. No, is Chad Zumach here? No? Great. Here's some money. Cheers. By the way, John Paul Jones, great mandolin player. Yeah, John Paul Jones plays it all. You know, this is way off anything, way off the track, but Rolling Stone magazine put out their list of the greatest bands that only have one album, and Them Crooked Vultures wasn't on the fucking list. Them Crooked Vultures is one of the greatest fucking albums. The fact that they haven't put out a second album is annoying to me.
Super groups don't count.
No, there were other bands like that in the list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Blasphemy.
what was the band that Soundgarden and Pearl Jam put together?
Temple of the Dog.
Temple of the Dog. I think they were on the list. And that's not nearly as good.
No.
Anyway, not the point. The point is John Paul Jones is a great mandolin player. So is Ricky Skaggs. If anyone's into mandolin playing, as it seems like everybody here is, check out Ricky Skaggs. Some really good stuff. Detroit Dabbler, $2. John Super Chats have sucked besides Vince the lawyer. Carl wins. Yeah, I know. Well, whatever. I don't want to get into that, but yeah, I appreciate it. And unlike some people, I'm not counting other people's money. So
I
it's
know.
fine.
There's provable metrics that it's like very obvious.
Nighttime RMX with $5 New Zealand dollars. Hey, Nikki, what a pity. You don't understand. You take me by the heart when you take me by the Hail Buddha. SJ. Hail Buddha? Take me by the hail.
I don't know. People are allowed to super chat whatever they want, I guess.
Turd Ferguson, $5. Hail Hamburger. All right. That I can get behind. That's
Now
my
you're talking.
brother. Jordan with $50. Thank you so much, Jordan. That's awesome. Fun fact. When Broccoli and STJ were discussing AC a couple weeks back, STJ did his usual, I'll buy you drinks. Then Brock super chatted him that if they met in real life, STJ would not be happy. Wish I could remember the date.
Huh. Well,
So STJ is Stuttering John. I'm sorry. I always
The
just
T
put
is throwing me off.
SJ. Yeah, okay. When Broccoli and Stuttering John were discussing AC a couple weeks ago, yes, I do remember that. Yeah, he was like, well, you're not going to be happy. Yeah. That
there
whole
was a moment there where I was like, did Carl just get up and leave? What happened?
the Broccoli.
Sometimes these super chats are in code, Mike.
know.
You gotta solve a fucking puzzle to understand
The
what people are trying to
Broccoli
say.
thing is fascinating to me because you got Broccoli who was donating all this money on MLC and he would peek in at Stuttering John and give like $5 and John would be like, Broccoli, come on, I see you giving money over to Kevin. You know, can't give me money. And then all of a sudden Broccoli just like that started turning it on and putting all this money to John. Now they're having phone conversations and he's flying him out to AC. And what's Broccoli's angle in all of this, I wonder? Nefarious! Could
To
be.
fuck them.
Could be nefarious. We'll see. Don with $2. Hi, Mike. You're blind. Let's not fight. Thank you, Don. Please
All right,
don't
I
fight.
guess.
Please don't fight, Mike. That's so mean.
Thank you.
Audiophile America, $5. Use this to start your mandolin-based hipster indie band, Clubfoot and Sons.
Sweet.
If Be selling out arenas in no time. Nighttime RMX. Let's play Fuck, Marry, Kill. Your choices are Sweatstain John, Grubby Fingers John, Slobbering Spit John. Okay, this is easy. Slobbering Spit John, I'm letting that John go down on me. That counts as an F.
Yeah.
All right?
Down on me.
Yeah. That's going to be wet.
Counts as anal.
That's going to be great. Sweatstain John, I'm marrying. Grubby Fingers John, I kind of put down.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I think that's the definitive answer.
Grubby
Mike,
fingers.
Mike V, $2. Did you ever take a nap with Cosby? No, we're intertwining all the things. Simon 3435 $5. My great grandfather died at a camp. He fell from the guard tower. Hilarious.
Hold on.
First time that's been told. The Goofing Vehicle, $5. John's children feel about him exactly the way he fears. Yeah, very possible. We don't know what that relationship is. The only thing we know is that John goes to the pub, or was going to the pub, 7 days a week.
Oh, somebody was on a roll, so I didn't want to bring it up. But when he was breaking down the spending amount that, like how much he tips and spends, people were getting lost in the math and the numbers of that, and not drilling down on how much. Yes, eight
beers.
Eight a night.
No, an afternoon. He's going to the pub at 3 o'clock.
Right, then he goes home and
then
drinks
coming
whatever's in
home
the
and
fridge,
drinking
too.
more, I'm sure.
Right.
8.
Yes.
That's outrageous.
It's over 10 beers because they're pints.
Yeah.
So he's drinking more than 10 beers. It's $48. So they raised the price to $6.
Well, now let's do the math.
Cost
So
him
he
out.
must be there for 11
Hour and a
hours.
Well, but then there's
Christ.
also the thing of like, if you say you're drinking 8 beers a night, what does that mean you're actually drinking? You know?
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
And that's
then-
what he's willing to admit. Like,
Well,
That's
and
what I
then-
mean. Yeah.
And then John will play that game where he's just like, I'm drinking 20 beers today, to try to be like, guys, I exaggerate. What are you going to do?
He said something the other night where he's like, I'm running out of beers, Vince.
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Like, it was like, so you're literally asking Vince to buy you things
But
now.
less than 7 days before that, he was going, don't send me deliveries,
We're
Vince.
done.
I got plenty of beer. I don't need it. And then 6 days later, he's like, uh-oh. And now he's got like rando. He's got like a 24-ounce can of Bud Light and then like a 32-ounce Golden Anniversary.
Oh, I did see somebody send a 6-pack of Steel Reserve, which is undrinkable.
Undrinkable.
That's so
God.
bad.
The 40s? Like the 40 ounces?
That was like, it was
No,
like,
like in a can.
unheard of.
Yeah.
6-pack
Oh, I didn't know
of
those
tall-
existed.
Like tall boy 6-pack. That does it. It's a unicorn. But that's what you only should be sending him because it's disgusting.
I'm not drinking these on air. Mark A with $10 says, is it bad when my girl asks about my credit card charges to AC Tampa Vegas and she's not going? School! I love it, Mark. I can't wait to see you down in Tampa. Oh, and according to SJ Logic, the 15 grand I made today betting tennis online, I'm a loser. Wait, what? You made 15 grand betting tennis online? How about I wet my beak? Aren't we entertaining you, Mark?
And what was your super chat? You can afford a little more.
Only $10 and you made 15 grand
You
today.
cheap fuck.
Down with $2. April can't come. John just wants to help. Yeah, I know. I think that might be part of it. I heard your husband's not satisfying you.
Yeah.
Guess who else can't satisfy
Yeah,
you?
right. More of the same.
But I apologize. That's the difference. D Vogel, $10. I heard John is the new sheriff in town. Yes, we played that. Are you regretting all your life decisions yet? Not yet. I'll let you know. Yeah, when he announced that they're a new sheriff in town, I think is how he said it.
Yeah,
Instead
yeah.
of there's a new sheriff in town. Grammar Nazi, John. Soon single, Louisa, $2. Carl, can you say that VTL is muttering Jay to quiet him? Can you say that VTL is muttering Jay to quiet him? I will say this. Anyone who's following me on Twitter might have noticed that Muttering Jay was trolling me for 48 hours straight. Just nonstop posting the same video over and over again, same jokes over and over again. And that's fine. I don't care.
Is it the Mando nap video?
It's a different one. It includes some of that, but it also has
The one John was playing.
the
over
one
and
John
over
was
again?
playing.
Okay.
That was funny too, because Jen and I are playing the Victory Lap song,
Yeah.
which is a parody of the Ramones Spider-Man song.
Sure.
And John's going, oh, that's a basic 1-4-5 progression. I'm like, well, yeah, it's the Ramones song. I didn't write it, asshole.
Right, yeah, you can't write anything better.
I wasn't trying to come with it.
That's what I'm talking about, where he kept replaying that, and I was like, what is the gotcha moment here?
Yeah, I don't
get
know. Well, but I saw in the chat as he's playing that, he's like, well, the guitar's in tune and he's playing the chords right. So
You know,
what are you
it's better
saying?
than any other performance John's put on the internet.
What are you trying to say? But anyway, so Muttering Jay was, tweeting all this shit at me. And I just finally, I tried to DM him. I didn't want to do this publicly, but I couldn't DM him. He has that blocked. So I just finally tweeted publicly and I just said, Muttering Jay, you seem to have a problem with me. Why don't you come on WATP? We can hash this out. Just come on the show.
Yeah.
He's got so much shit to say, so much shit to talk about, much bigger platform coming on WATP. A lot more people you'll be able to reach with that. Come on my show. So then he has this stipulation. He's like, why would I come on your show? What do you want to talk about? So I thought, well, you've contradicted
life.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Nothing in particular.
Just to catch up. Yeah, just to see what's going on. So I wrote to him. I said, well, you seem to have contradicted yourself a few times. I want to discuss that. Or whatever I said, paraphrasing. Name a bunch of times I contradicted myself.
Name 10.
And so I wrote back and I just go, I'm not playing this game with you. I don't have time to be. At the time, I was prepping for Who Are These Socials. So I'm like, I don't have time.
Very important.
Yeah, no shit. I'm like, I don't have time to play these games with you on Twitter all day. I have work to do. So just come on my show. We could talk about it then. And holy shit, then it turned into I ran away from him. And it's just like so much nonsense. Meanwhile, people are tweeting at him all of these screen grabs of all the contradictions and all the things. He's pro Stuttering John, he's anti-Stuttering John, pro me, he's anti-me, all this kind of shit. So whoever's manning Muttering Jay's account, and it might be multiple people, because there is a Muttering Jay who writes intelligently and has brought up good points in the past. And then there's this other version of Muttering Jay that's nonsensical and really dumb. So I think there's multiple people. So Vince, does that get me out of this lawsuit that you're going to sue me out of my house for if I say Muttering Jay is more than one person? There you
It's
go.
Vince and Hitman Dan.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Who knows? This world is topsy-turvy. Tim Diff Electric, formerly Bob's Chicken Briquette, says, how you doing, brother men? I can speak for all of us and say we're doing fantastic. Dang Lizard, €2. Is it worse to be called gay or a loser? Wow. As Turbo Melendez has taught me, calling someone gay is the worst thing you could do to another guy. Yes.
Guy stuff.
When it comes to guy stuff, the worst thing you could be called is effeminate gay. Mark A, $5. Blind Mike, my mom has had Stargarts for 30 years.
Oh.
I feel for you, brother. Hang in there. We keep hoping something comes along. Peace.
Well, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thank
Serious note, but yes, I appreciate it.
I appreciate that. The way I started reading that too was all off. My inflection was all off on that. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Blind Mike? Whoa! Oh shit! All right, guy just wants you to get your eyesight back. That's
Thank
nice.
you, buddy.
Count Connor, $5. Tim, I'm just a single drunk in the rain asking you to love him.
There really was a rom-com element. Like I
There
was
really
surprised
was,
that
yeah.
it didn't end with those two crazy kids together.
I was all in on that story.
Their meet cute. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
their meet cute was fascinating. Don, $2. The Dabbleverse is the reverse Jane Goodall. That's a pretty good observation. That's not bad. Jackie Puppet's here with
pretty
$10. Because you're doing God's work. Hoo-yah. Thank you, Jackie Puppet. Oh, wait. I actually think I probably have a better drop than me trying to do it.
Nice.
Vin, the evil warrior, $2. Just got here. Still claiming I am Muttering Jay.
Ooh.
John Sons of Tranny, $5. The catfished SJ is as fake as the YouTube SJ. SJ is a horrible person. Don't feel bad for him. He's purposely burnt all who have shown him compassion. Correct. And anytime you start to feel bad, like, oh, everyone's ganging up on this guy. What did he ever do to deserve it? And then you look into it and you're like, oh, everything. He literally, and the first time we reviewed his podcast, going back many years now, I knew of Stuttering John from the Howard Stern show. We checked out his podcast. I'm like, oh, this is not very good. And I didn't think negatively about him. Now I do.
Yeah.
Now I realize he's a giant piece of shit.
I've said this to you before, but how different both your lives would be if John saw that episode go up that you made fun of him and just went, that's shitty, and then moved on with his day.
Or he could have just been like, man, these guys, this show, and a lot of people who address our show don't say it by name. They don't want to get any publicity. We could have been like, oh my God, I heard this podcast goofing on my show. And wow, they were digging at me pretty good for talking about my accomplishments in 2nd grade and 5th grade. And they were making some points.
Yeah.
John would have rolled with it.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot better for him, but
I hate to do this, boys, but I got to run.
I totally understand, buddy.
Right.
Blindmike.net is where you want to go. The Blind Mike Project, Sunday morning at 10 a.m.
That's right.
Oh, I wanted to ask you real quick. Sorry.
Yeah,
But so you refused to tell us what you knew about the Mark Norman video on Who Are These Socials last night. And now it's been ruined.
It's everywhere.
You had a chance to break it on our show, and you went, I'm saving it for Sunday.
I wanted to do real journalism. I was told not to say anything yet, and then 3 hours later, everyone was like, "Yeah, it's a Donald Glover thing." I was like, "God damn it!"
Oh. Even that's weird though, because it seems poorly acted and poorly executed. Was that like one of the takes that didn't work, or
I don't know why Norman went along with it, because he posted something like my team's trying to figure out, and that doesn't seem like a Norman thing at all. So I am still curious, and it didn't feel like the audience was in on it. So I'm curious to hear more details as it comes out. But
all right. Well, sorry, that was a terrible plug. Blind Mike Project this Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yes, yeah, we'll be talking about that. Why are you laughing? We just did a Fez Watley episode. The one coming out next week is a special review of Louis C.K.'s Shameless. So check that out. Carl's been on a couple episodes if you want to go back to the archives. BlindMike.net is where you can find all those links. Become a Patreon member or a YouTube member, and I would appreciate that.
Very good. What are you guys talking about on Blind Mike Project on Sunday morning?
The Norman stuff we'll get into. Tom Myers explains one of my favorite jokes. Are you familiar with the burial plot joke?
Oh, am I familiar with that? On his birthday, his parents take him out? Yeah.
Yes, he's on a podcast explaining exactly what the real
amazing.
Story is.
That's amazing.
And Dalia was on Soft White Underbelly, and it's a bizarre interview, so we're breaking that down too.
Beautiful. All right.
Are you aware of Lifeline, Mike? You're a Dalia hater.
I am, yes. I prefer when I'm finding Dalia clips, congratulations, because he's by himself, which is generally worse.
Yeah.
So I haven't listened to too much of Lifeline, but
Matt Dalia is a fucking
sucks.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to listen more now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've never heard a guy more arrogant about being wrong constantly.
It's weird.
Okay.
Hey, I just love the idea that Chris D'Elia is giving life advice.
Yeah, I know. I love that too. It's definitely a personality flaw. All right. Thanks, Mike. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Thanks, boys. Good to see you.
All right. See ya.
Talk to you later.
All right, Andy, you're going to hang out with me, right?
Yes.
Because Matthew Relius, $5, says, hi, Carl, wide right. Sad your QB isn't as clutch as Big Cock Brock. Go Niners. Your little Lions are next. I spelled your right thanks to Sutcho.
Go Lions.
Oh, I spelled your right thanks to Sutcho. I see. You got the lesson from him. Go Lions. I do like the Niners. I do like Brock Purdy. He was my fantasy quarterback once what's his nuts went down. The guy from the Bengals, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Right.
Anyway, not the point. The point is the Niners are not clutch. The Niners lose these types of games. And I have a feeling that the Lions are going to surprise them. I think the Lions are going to win this game and be in the Super Bowl. Go Lions, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Casey Armstrong's hairline, $2. Mike and Andy, how much older than you is Mrs. Hamburger? Mike and Andy.
Oh, are Mike and I the same age? I don't know about that. I mean, it's hard to say how old.
No, Mike's much younger than us.
Yeah.
Andy's older than me,
Yes,
and Mike's like over 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. I've said it many times.
I'm only a little bit younger.
My wife is 8.5 years older than me. David Pepping, $3. John's justification. You drew first blood, skull. I know. It's amazing. Ordo Monstrum, $5. Carl, you are always entertaining. Thank you for being a professional. Look forward to seeing you in Largo. Bring the instruments. Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Largo. We'll definitely be hanging out. It's going to be a great time. March 22nd. Tickets available at WATPlive.com. We're going to have the whole crew down there. And I will tell you, the first live show we did in Chicago, I did bring the acoustic guitar.
That's right.
And Jen and I sang the old version of our theme song to start the show off. And I was like, this is too much work.
It was more trouble than it was worth.
Yeah, like, I'm not doing this again. But then we played Detroit, we did the live show in Detroit, and then the Ice Stuffs played the next night. And that was also too much work.
Yeah. Mandolins are pretty small though. They
I
fit
could
right in
bring
an overhead.
I could
compartment.
bring a mandolin.
I'll bring
pretty
mine
easily.
too.
All right.
Little known fact. I
Andy's
also
got a
play
mandolin. That's
mandolin.
right. All right.
What's going on over here?
Dual mandolins. Tony Bag of Donuts, $5. Here's money for mentioning them crooked vultures. Yes. Thank you, Tony Bag of Donuts. Great fucking band. Janet the Evil Lawyer. Hot take, Broccoli is SJ and Vince the Lawyer is the new sodomy. Well,
There's a new sodomy?
I think so.
Oh.
I don't think that Broccoli could be Stuttering John because John would have to actually be giving him $100 super chats. It's not like John knows how to do a fake super chat.
Yeah.
Which
that would be amazing.
I don't know anyone
he
who knows
was
how to
super
make
chatting himself.
I don't know anyone who knows how to make a fake super chat because it's one thing to put up an overlay on your screen and make it look like there's
like
money.
Shuley was doing, like the Shuley team.
They weren't. This is the point I'm trying to make.
I thought they were.
No. The fake thing they did was when Chad was pretending to get Venmos and they were making screenshots of Venmo that Chad was showing, just like, someone just give me $300, and those were Photoshop Venmo things.
I'm just misremembering.
But in order to put up a super chat, like you could put up this banner right here and fake that, but it's showing up in the chat stream. That's the part that I think would be impossible unless you're Tommy from MSCS, who's a programmer and knows how to get around YouTube with those types of things. But maybe I'm naive. I think that's
John can barely talk. He's not.
I don't think
another
I
personality.
don't think he's Broccoli
during his own show.
Mark A, $100. Is this better, Mike? Damn it, we missed Mike on this one, but yes, that's way better. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. This is great. This is fantastic. You know, I came on the show today thinking, well, my podcast career is over, so I guess I'll be updating my resume and talking about how I'm good at Cool Edit Pro. And look at us now. Dorby $2, Stuttering Jaundice. That's funny. That's good. I like it. Edgar $2. Is this the Sarah Silverman show? Yes, it is. Nihilio, $5. The Dabbleverse should unite and block VTL LTWO. Well, I agree with that, but the problem with trolls is if you feed them after midnight, maybe I'm confusing things. Tim Diff Electric, $5 says, is men doing guy stuff the same as doing guy stuff to men? I'll take your answer off the air. I'll hang up and listen. Chris Popke, $2. Shake those moops for me, Andy.
Oh, what are you talking about? It's just the lighting in here.
Andy's got a boyfriend. Don, $2. Odds on John showing up in AC. I know that's the other thing. I forgot. I was going to raise up to Tim. There's no way he shows up in AC.
No.
I hope he does. There'll be some funny stories around that. You know, because he's telling everyone, and Tukey brings this up perfectly, so I don't have to reiterate it, but John's been going on his show and just going, listen, Patrick Melton, if you see me in AC, turn around, walk the other way. Listen, Kevin Brennan. Listen, Bob Levy. Listen, he's listing off every person who's supposed to be there. And it's like, what do you think this is? It's a public place. It's a casino. People are going to be milling about. They don't have to be like, oh shit, John's in the poker room. We all got to go.
There's no way he goes.
I don't think so either. He's got too many enemies there. It would be embarrassing. Plus, he's a short little fat man. There'd be a lot of photos of him that would be funny. Nighttime RMX, $2. Giddy Up Cowgirl. I think that's me. Big W, $2. Vince the Warrior can't speak without his bottom lip quivering. He's not a good broadcaster. That's one thing I can tell you for sure. And wow, did we just get through all the super chats right there? We did it. Okay, real quick. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk to you about. And this is actually a thread on the subreddit that I was reading before the show tonight. I thought was kind of interesting because it just goes to illustrate people who are observing this are much smarter than John is. Just the random people who are checking this stuff out. What's that username? It's JKO
1962.
Okay. John is way too stupid to realize regarding his career. He's so obsessed with the Dabbleverse and winning the WATP TURS people over that 90% of his Twitter X makes him look like a raving lunatic to anyone else. Okay, so this, I think, is illustrating a great point because if you remember, John's completely switched. that interview he did with Monique from Radio Gunk, where Monique goes, why don't you just lean into it? You know, you got all these trolls out there. And he goes, Monique, there's a couple hundred people who are in the Dabbleverse, or however he worded it. I have millions of fans. I'm internationally known. Why would I allow these losers to dictate what I'm up to? And to some degree, that was the right attitude. He was wrong about the numbers and what's going on, but it was the right attitude. And now John has completely switched it so that if you were a Howard Stern show fan and you didn't know about what John's been up to since leaving the show, there's probably a pretty good percentage of people like that. You know, were Stern fans, and then he went away and they continued to listen to Stern. And
I think a lot of people find this, or WATP, that way.
Through YouTube and stuff. They're looking up old clips, E-Show and Howard TV, and then this shows up in their suggestions.
It just leads down. Yeah, it leads this way.
But I would imagine, and I don't know what the percentage is, because even if you go on like the Radio Gunk forum that's talking about the Howard Stern show, and that's where all those Howard Stern fans are hanging out, every now and again there'll be a thread about Stuttering John and what he's up to, but it's not that big for them. They're still talking about what Howard Stern's doing and all that kind of stuff. So I imagine there's probably a pretty big percentage of people who know of Stuttering John, maybe were even fans, who don't know about this.
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here is an example of that. A friend that is not in the Dabbleverse asked me if John had a mental breakdown. He was a huge Stern guy, followed SJ, and mentioned that he keeps seeing shitware and Lady Kmart 10 times a day, plus random pictures of random people John calls fat, ugly losers, etc. Can you imagine any agents/managers that see his daily meltdowns? John, in typical fashion, has amplified his pathetic life for all to see every day. John sucks at everything. I think this is a brilliant point. John is leaning into this so much now that if you were looking to hire John, he's writing a sitcom, he wants to get back into show business. If you were a producer, if you had any type of position in Hollywood where you could greenlight something and hire him and do these kind of things, they're all going to check social media, see what he's up to, see what he's putting out there. And when they see all this stuff, they're going to be like, oh, this person's a lunatic. What the fuck's he talking about? The shitware and Lady Kmart stuff. It's so bizarre. It's not a good look for him. So,
oh my God.
I thought that was a really good point.
Yeah, well, he's shooting himself in both feet with all the guns.
He really is. And the fact that he was overplaying his hand this week, which is so predictable.
It's not only predictable, but overly obnoxious.
Yes.
The amount of replaying the same thing over and over and over again.
See, I win.
And just
I win again.
Sitting alone in your apartment, talking to yourself, telling you that you're winning.
Yeah.
He's talking to nobody about how he's owning you. In the week, it was such a weak sauce own.
Yeah.
It's not a damning video.
Andy, I can't judge that for myself. I don't know.
I do.
So that's why
it's like
that's why I saw
nothing.
that and I went, oh my gosh, I've seen some very embarrassing videos. I was thinking about Reese Witherspoon. Remember when she got pulled over, her husband did?
Yeah, I did an episode about it.
Okay. Yeah, right. And she gets out of the car and she's yelling at the cops and they're like drunk driving. She's like, do you know who the fuck I am? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's an embarrassing video.
Yeah.
That's highly embarrassing. I was live streaming with my wife and she walked into the room.
Right.
I don't get it.
Oh, I was playing a song and I decided to sing the lead melody over what I was playing. And you loop that for 2 minutes and say, that's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Not really. Not in context.
Well, also, Gene Ween does that live when he performs by himself. He sings the guitar solo part of
yeah?
Ocean Man.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
So it's even more relevant.
Tell Muttering Jay to go after VTL's family. Man, there are some people who are starting to dig into VTL's family. It's a little bit interesting.
Does it really need to be said that the whole thing was a joke? The Vince's kids are losers. I mean, John doesn't understand it. That's a callback to the whole.
I will say.
I know Vince understands it.
Yes, and I will say it was predictable that was the angle that Vince was going to take.
Yeah.
I said it on the BS show this morning. But I think it has to be losing credibility. Like, he doctors the videos. He lies about me. He makes up all this shit. It's gotten to the point where Shuli and I just don't even want to deal with him anymore because everything he says is a lie. So you're like, well,
Vince, you mean?
Yeah, Vince.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how anybody is letting giving him a seat at any table anywhere now.
Well,
He's not to be trusted.
It's the same thing that I went through with Chad Zumach, where it's like, well, if Chad said this outrageous thing and he bought a gun and he's doing this thing, and then he's just like, no, I lie about everything. Like, oh, well, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, then why are we having a discussion? Vince the lawyer comes on, doctors videos, makes shit up, takes things out of context, lies about stuff all the time. And then we're supposed to like react to that? What a waste of fucking time.
But he's getting a reaction from John, which is the thing that makes like the
easiest thing to
fact
do
that
ever.
John is so desperate to have something on you that just the words coming out of in your mouth in that episode that was a joke on John, not Vince's kids.
Right.
And John still doesn't get it.
Correct.
And thinks that he's getting over on you because because that clip came out.
All right. You know what?
So
you just reminded me, we cut that clip early.
Yeah.
Let me just, before we wrap things up, let me just play the rest of that because John really digs in.
Yeah, he just freaks out.
Yeah. He thinks it's this crazy gotcha moment. We had a video that I posted on YouTube this week from the Wednesday show that we were on, Andy. You, me, Lucy Tight Box, producer Chris. And I broke down a couple of things that shows that John's a moron, and also he doesn't give a shit about his kids because he played a caller on Vince the Lawyer show saying that his daughter is mentally ill. And I said, well, this is proof John doesn't give a fuck about his kids, or he's a moron, or both, right?
Yep.
So we had a couple of, I don't know what you call them, gotchas, whatever you want to call it. Was I jumping up and down and going, we win, it's over, yeah! It's like, just fucking act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
Even if this was like this crazy
But then
thing.
he gets to that part too, and then he's just like, I don't need to watch that.
Yes. That was very telling.
Yeah.
He was just getting to the part where I was going to reveal that Vince the Lawyer has a caller on that Vince agrees with, that John's daughter, who's his son, is mentally ill. And then John's like, all right, that's I can't watch anymore of this.
You know what? I bet Vince cut the clip there. It's probably
Maybe.
edited so that's not even in there, so John doesn't even know about it.
Very possible.
Because he's spoon-fed everything. All of his takes are spoon-fed to him.
Yeah, I know. He can't do anything on his own. He's a child. His mom probably cuts up his fucking meat when he stays with her for Christmas, if I had to guess.
Yeah, you're...
I love it.
It's great.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Your friends, and
Yeah.
Vince is on the show. Vince laughs, then John laughs.
Yeah.
And then Vince goes, "Oh, my kids love the sound of your laugh. They
Okay. I haven't seen this clip before.
it's the greatest
And John
thing
falls
in the
for it
world."
every time. He's just like, I know,
Every
I'm
time.
entertaining. I don't know. I can't help
It's
it.
just one of those great
Just
things.
so
that I do.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Kids sound like losers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vince's kids sound like fucking losers.
Oh!
If their favorite entertainer is Stuttering John Melendez, those are a couple of fucking losers right there.
Wow!
That's true.
Wow!
Segments.
Let's play that again. Oh, so now it's not only my kids, Carl. Now you're gonna fucking shit on minors?
What was my name right there? Jesus Christ.
He was very drunk. I
Clear
think.
your throat. Oh, that was the other thing he said too. I think it was this episode, whatever the episode was last night, where he had this big gotcha for me. He's like, oh, I'm getting drunk tonight. Yeah, we know, John. You don't have to declare that.
Devin and Alexandra, I want to fucking... You're gonna shit on Vince's kids. They are fucking minors.
See, this is all a performance. He can't be this stupid,
Yeah.
right?
He just is desperate.
It's a
for
call-
have
it's a
something
callback.
to shit on you
And you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about, these guys who are acting like, you can't make fun of kids who are under 18. It's unheard of. Remember how Maddox got famous?
Right, yeah.
He was making fun of children's art, real art that a child drew and saying, this kid's an idiot.
Yeah.
He sucks at this. I could draw a way better fire engine than this kid can. Wow!
Oh,
Maddox,
really?
you're going to make fun of minors and the art?
So dumb.
All right, I'm serious, man.
Yeah.
I'm fucking angry.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
He's beside himself.
These are minor children.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think These kids are super cool, super sweet.
You've never met them, and you don't even know if they exist. John, I just want to point that out to you. You have no idea if this is actually real because nothing that Vince the lawyer says is real.
Yeah.
Or the truth.
Vince's kids are Tim Duransky.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. So that chick who wanted to fuck you from Rhode Island is the same as those kids who love your performances on YouTube. Do you understand
None
what's
of
going
them
on here?
exist,
None of it's
yeah.
real.
And there's no need to fucking attack children, Carl. You're opening yourself up to so much shit that's going to come your way. You might think you're the king, but right now, you ain't shit. You're actually going to attack Vince's kids. Look at this idiot, Vince.
Not only did we call them losers, Vince played it and you played it. So it must have been pretty good content. It's making the rounds.
I mean,
Too stupid to realize Vince doesn't even have kids. Oh, okay.
Dumb
Okay.
shitter.
Yeah, okay.
Well said.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I saw a video of them. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Well,
I saw a video of them watching my fucking show.
so stupid.
And now you're let's play this again. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
all right.
This is the worst
Oh,
thing
and he
ever.
just plays
I-
it over and over
Let's keep
again.
playing it over and over
Yeah.
again because it's so terrible. This is so hurtful to people involved.
Rather have this than your wife.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
And I don't give a fuck because I'll say it. Because now you're proven to not only attack my kids, now you're attacking Vince's kids. And you're defaming him. Carl, tune into Vince's show tomorrow. I know I will.
I missed it. I was doing the Creep Off bonus show, thecreepoff.com. It's a great episode, by the way.
Yeah. But all right, if you want to get, specific and semantic about it, have they won every game that they've ever played? If they've lost anything, they're losers.
Well,
So
I'll go one further.
Okay.
This is going to make news. Hold on. Let me get John off the screen real quick because this is going to make big news. John, every kid under 18 is a loser. Every single one. Every single one that exists now and will exist in the future is a loser.
they all suck.
They all suck and they're all losers. All the minor children are losers. Can you believe Lady K has the audacity? Well, this is not going to end well for you, Lady K. All of those kids' parents are watching this right now and are pissed at you.
I actually like Vince's show. And to be quite honest,
Well, that's the stupidest thing you've
even
ever
told
said.
Vince
Yeah.
today, yeah,
Vince does a show that gets you to react. He does a show for simpletons like you to react. That's why he uses words like assault. Carl assaulted my daughter. Okay.
clip this, Carl, that I'm proud of him. Because when Vince and I first started, and he was trying to use OBS or OPS, whatever that fucking thing is, he couldn't figure it out. And now he's got it pretty damn down.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm sure no thanks to you.
I know. He has no idea how to use OBS. Obviously, he can't even
doesn't even know what it is.
And
Doesn't
the
even know what
fact
the
that he's just
letters
like,
are.
I'm pretty proud of that guy. He figured out how to use software. Wow.
You watched a YouTube tutorial.
No shit. That's amazing.
His show looks a lot better than yours, Carl.
Yeah, but we have a lot more viewers. Yeah, it sounds like the guitar solo from Weird Al's Nirvana. He does the gargling.
Yeah.
What was the name of that song?
Smells like Nirvana.
It smells like Nirvana.
He don't have it. A fucking show in a basement with carpeting and paneling.
I love that he still thinks that this is a burn.
Yeah.
It's great.
And you're gonna attack his children?
You mean
Who
those
is this
losers?
fucking biatch on the bottom?
Vince is on the show. Vince laughs, then John.
Oh! How dare you talk about Lucy Tightbox? You're calling Lucy Tightbox a biatch?
You're not coming back from this one,
Oh,
John.
John, she's got a lot of fans. You better watch out for the backlash that's going to happen.
Laughs.
Yeah.
And then Vince goes, "Oh, my kids love the sound of your laugh. They just think
Yeah.
it's the greatest
And John
thing
falls
in the
for it
world."
every time. He's just like, I know,
Every
I'm
time.
entertaining. I can't help
It's
it.
just one of those great
Just
things.
so
that I do.
entertaining.
Yeah.
These kids sound like losers.
Yeah, Vince's kids sound like fucking losers. If their favorite entertainer is Stuttering John Melendez, Those are a couple of fucking losers right there, if that's true. And Vince keeps saying that's true. So that's the only conclusion you can come to from that. So it's so funny. John has one person supporting him here, and it's completely changed his tune. Remember, this is the tweet that he took down. He's like, I took it down. I didn't know. I took it down. That's why pencils have erasers.
Yeah.
You know, he'd go through the whole thing.
They put on an ill-fitting
I mean,
hat.
after you fucking went batshit crazy.
This clip, now you took it down long before that, idiot. Right here. This is the chef's kiss from this little package that we have today. Because Vince takes a caller and the
Oh, God. I can't watch anymore.
yeah, Cantor
I
won't.
just proved my fucking point.
Okay. He is something else,
I
isn't
better
he?
end it before Carl proves his.
Yeah, right. No shit. All right. What is Michael C saying? Tell Muttering Jay to go after Andy's family. Oh gosh, God forbid. Don $2, just when you think he's just stupid. Stupidity now. And Cyberganic $2. John looks like he's struggling to sit up straight. He's not in good shape. He lives in 400 or 500 square feet, whatever his studio apartment is.
Mm-hmm.
And when he gets up to grab the delivery, he's winded by the time he sits back down on the couch.
Oh, I remember when he was down in Cape Coral and he had to walk out of the room. He looked like Ozzy. Like he's got that shuffle, like hunched over
shuffle thing.
Yeah, he's on his way there, like probably 20 years sooner. But
the difference is Ozzy stopped doing drugs and drinking. Battery acid popsicle, $5. All my kids are losers. They all end up on an old sock. Finger guns. Bo Beardington, $2. Who are the biggest losers, Shuley fans or Bills fans? How dare you? With that, I'm going to end it. Andy, the All Apologies podcast.
yeah,
You do Andy Q Public along with Joe Sixpack. What are you guys talking about these days?
well, I feel like I haven't been explaining the Patreon that well because
No, I'm confused.
Let me explain
Yes.
further. I monitor the news every morning. I get up and I type apology news into the internet machine. And I do Instagram posts about the stories that I find. Now, what we're doing on Patreon, only exclusively on Patreon, every week I have a roundup of the Instagram content. So Joe and I will take turns covering the things that I find all week long. So if you sign up for a $5 subscription, you get to see what we look like so that you can tell us apart.
That helps.
And you get a weekly like mini show on top of the regular full-on Wednesday show.
Nice.
So check it out.
And the All Apologies podcast, of course, available wherever you get podcasts.
Yep.
And what they do is they break down celebrity apologies, and there sure are a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they're all embarrassing. So
It's a lot of fun.
And of course, whoarethese.com. You can go to find all who are these podcasts, who are these socials, who are these broadcasters. Who are these broadcasters? Just had Jackie the Joke Man Martling on the show
Legend.
this week. So that was great. Cardiff, I thought you were still on vacation, buddy. He says, no invite. We love you, Cardiff. Thank you. Thank you for getting in 2 Tapoca Dabblers ahead of time. The last one was fantastic, by the way. It was very good. So whoarethese.com is where you want to go. And of course, thecreepoff.com every Monday at 1:00 Eastern. Vinny, Paulino, and I compete to find out who can bring the biggest creep from a different category. It's the only true crime show for men. So if you're a man and you're like, I don't like true crime, I don't either. Check out the Creep Off. It's not about that kind of shit. All right. We should sign off now and thank everybody for hanging out. I think we had like 1,800 people in here.
Whoa.
At a certain point. Big crowd, big audience. It's not over, Chad. It's not over yet. It will be soon. It's not over yet. But guys, thank you. We couldn't do this without your support, without your viewership, without your super chats, without you spreading the word. So for Blind Mike Geary, Missy B, Tim Dransky, Andy Q Public, I'm Carl Hamburger saying Galaga.
Point Dabblepoint. A Stuttering John Melendez roundtable discussion.